Hey guys, we are drawing the $1,000 for the people that are following Luke Camilleri, LDC_01. We are drawing that on Thursday. So on Thursday, we're drawing it. So make sure to follow him. You've only got a couple days left to be following LDC_01. Give him a message if you need a car. Mention Bloke. He'll take care of you. Make sure to join the Bloke Club as well. We give all these prizes away. But yeah, we're drawing it this Thursday. Plus, we're also drawing the Phrase skincare package as well this Thursday. Don't forget, guys, the Wellness Warriors Gathering. It is this Saturday. Registration starts at 8:45. The panel, we've got veterans speaking. We've got plenty of ex-professional athletes. It's going to be outstanding at Coplix Family Sports Park. Make sure to get down, guys. It's going to be an outstanding day. It is totally free. It is totally free. We got Michael Thwaite, Socceroo. We got Christian Reese, A-League. And we also got Mike Handley, Afghanistan veteran, as well speaking. Plus, I'll also be having a chat. Benny Hannett's going to be there. It's this Saturday on the Gold Coast, guys. It is totally free. Come down. Just come down and say hi, have a yarn, have a feed. You will not be disappointed. It'll be a bloody great day. It is this Saturday. Do not miss it, guys, at Coplix Family Sports Bar. I'll see you there.
Just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Bloke in a Bar. And if you are watching, if you have tuned in, you will see that I am a man of my word. And look, joke's on you. The wife said I'm hotter now, which is crazy. The wife said I'm way hotter than I was before, which was hard to do. So joke's on you, boys. You thought it was going to make me look bad. Clearly look really good. So that's a win for me.
You look more like an NRL player now than when you debuted, which I love.
Just about 10 kilos overweight, but I'm nearly there. Timmy, how you going, brother?
I'm good, mate. It reminds me of like that dairy milk where there's like it's a dairy milk dark chocolate with a bit of white scattered through the top. That's what you look like.
Top deck.
That's the one, yeah.
Top deck. Yeah. A bit of apicoricia, a bit of kick out as well. A little bit. I'm moving like them lately. For people that don't realise, though, we had a bet. Whoever lost that bet, it was... Queensland, New South Wales. I said Queensland will win. Roo said New South Wales would win. We were supposed to dye my goatee, but I got to the hairdresser and she was like, listen, you're going to need at least 3 to 4 weeks of growth before you can even consider dyeing the goatee. So instead, I did the hair. And also, with the goatee, it burns your scalp. So initially, they did the top bits. And she's like, we can just do the top bits. It'll look blonde. It'll be good. And I was like, okay, just do the top bits. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, we did it. And I was like, I don't think the boys are going to be happy with just that amount. She's like, it's going to burn your scalp if you do the roots. And I was like, I'm a footy player. I'm tough. So that's not going to be an issue for me. Burnt the shit out of my scalp. So much I was like, please come out and take this off. So I couldn't do the sides because it would have burnt the shit out of my sides. But yes, I did the top. It's done. I'm a man of my word.
Yeah, we're used to Queensland not, doing the full job, so that's fine.
Wow. Hammy, what do you think, mate?
Yeah, it's not bad. Did you get done at the same barber as Lockie Galvin? Or?
Wow. That's not bitter at all. How did you feel seeing him in the Dogs colours?
Disgraceful. No, that as I said in the green room earlier, that'll end in tears anyway. So I'm not too bothered.
Oh, that's bitter.
Tears of joy, premiership tears.
I will say, wow, geez, what this like?
Come on, mate.
Jeez Louise, he's come swinging. They get one win. He's carrying on with the Blues hat as well. Just quickly, great name of the podcast last week. Lockie Galvin's a dog.
Galvin's a dog.
That is great podcast.
That's what it says on the tin. Win, learn or draw. Head there if you want to hear a little bit of whinging about Lockie Galvin. That is the place to do it. It was a buy round last week, so we had Concord Idol, where we had some of our punters sent in kind of like songs, chants with some of the players in them. So get over there. Big full review of the learning experience we had at Townsville Tech on the weekend.
Okay. Did you hand out any touchdowns?
Four touchdowns. So I probably got a little bit trigger happy. But just goes to show great depth around the club, which is good. Yeah.
Hey, speaking of songs, I got a hot take, and I'm going to get crucified, but I don't care. New South Wales song sucks. It sucks. Did you see it get sung?
No, I didn't.
It was getting ripped in the comments section. Did you not see?
I saw. You know what it was missing?
You had to find something to rip us about.
Oh, come on. What it was genuinely missing
Clearly not used to winning.
Was Jerome Luai leading it. Last year, he kind of, added a bit of gusto. He kind of did it in cahoots with Critter. This year, he was definitely the missing ingredient. Sing along if you know the words.
Nah, sorry.
Like everything in Queensland, the acoustics were just shit up there.
Controversial,
Wasn't the song's fault.
but our song absolutely dominates your song.
Don't remember it. Haven't heard it in fucking ages.
You just
been a
heard of it
while.
20 years in a row. That's all.
Don't remember
That
it.
is, come on, guys. You be honest. Take the Blues hat off. I mean, keep it on because we're selling it in the tent.
Bloke.shop.
But, bro, that's a bad song.
I thought it was great.
I think it was a
Great
new
rendition.
one from last year, so the boys are still just getting used to it, all right? Just
That is
relax.
a terrible song. I don't know.
We'll get used to it.
Yeah, it was delivered with more gusto with Jerome. But
Jerome Luai.
Yeah,
I will say
you don't
Luai.
pick a stick, so-
Yeah, good leader of the. And you didn't select him because you don't
Yeah.
pick a stick. That's fair.
Yeah, we win instead.
Come on.
Let's see DCE run out in game 2. Well, let's see how
Yeah,
pick and stick plays out. Let's see.
Good test.
Yeah, I mean, look, we won for 20 years straight, so that's all
Yeah,
that
we
matters.
did. Yeah.
So that's all that really matters.
That's right.
But I
We'll
just
live
had
in
to
the
say,
now. We'll enjoy the
that's all I had to say. I'm sorry. I know it's controversial, but that was not great. That was not great. And it doesn't hold a candle on the Queensland song. You know that. You know
Give it
deep
time,
down.
it'll grow.
It'll grow?
Yeah, it'll grow.
Oh, my God. Matty, I know you don't have a mic, but give me your thoughts, mate.
Both songs are terrible.
Oh, that's not true. You know the Queensland song is great. I was about to say the Australian song.
What is the Queensland song?
Yeah, I was thinking. You know the Queensland song.
No, Jeremy, what
Singing,
is it?
yeah, yippee, yippee,
Yeah, right.
Nah, never heard it.
Oh, that is
jeez.
good. That is. See, listen,
denial.
we're all about honesty on this panel, and clearly we're getting some bit of bias here.
To be
That's
fair,
the
I
bias.
actually don't think I've ever tuned into the Maroons singing their team song. Why would I? Why would I want to do that?
Because you usually leave before the full
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Because you're getting toweled up, so you leave
There's
early.
just some bitterness here, isn't there? Like, shit, you're
From where they
clutching
were
anything
2
you can
weeks ago.
get.
Look at carry
Wow.
on. Kimmy's not even wearing his maroon.
Nah.
They're fucking
Jeez.
clearing the sinking ship.
Oh wow, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. It's all right. They're very defensive on that bat song. There's
Very
not much there. Very defensive.
Extremely defensive.
Oh, that's good. Guys, don't forget the Bloke blue and maroon jumpers and hats live next Tuesday at 6 p.m. We'll be doing the show on Tuesday because it's a public holiday and obviously there's a game on Monday. 6 p.m. Be there, guys. Limited edition. We've never done these designs before and they're the highest quality we've ever done. We've obviously got the jumpers. We've got the hats. Make sure to be there. And also, DJ Grumpy is now live on June 7th, Hamilton Station Hotel, Newcastle, from midday till late. Grumpy will be playing during that period. We will later, like closer to the date, we'll confirm. And then June 8th, the Sunday Assembly Tribute Boxing, 47 Dawson Street, Brunswick in Melbourne. From 9 a.m. till 10:30, DJ Grumpy will be playing and Grumpy Coffee will be provided from 9 till 10 o'clock. So make sure to grab your Grumpy Coffee. Go to grumpycoffee.com.au. Get your Grumpy Coffee and you're the best coffee in all the land. Got some beautiful blends every day and also very grumpy. It's time to face the music, brought to you by our friends over at Sportsbet.
Congratulations, first and foremost, to you, raising about 100,000 copies on the feed.
100,000 copies
Not
on
bad.
the feed. Thank you. Been working hard.
Started from the bottom now here. Now, not as good a week to follow you, in
Yes.
fairness.
Yeah.
Didn't quite have your eye in. You do, however, have a 14-leg NBA multi pending for Friday. Did you want to talk us through?
Listen, if you want the deep insight, you've got to go to the feed. I'm yet to put the description in, but I'll put it in soon.
Can't rush hard.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, we're looking forward to reading that description. It's probably about $75 or something like that at the moment.
Listen,
Is that it?
Yeah.
listen, I know my NBA. Big basketball guy.
Yep.
Big basketball
Well,
guy.
time will tell on that one. All right. Well, let's get into the results for Face the Music round 13. Kicking off with the Dragons 20, defeating the Knights 6. No one gave the Knights a chance, rightly so. They stank. But apparently it's the scheduling's fault. So that's good to know. Denon and Timmy, you had the Dragons 13 plus for 275. Myself and Matty had the Dragons minus 5.5. Actually, Roo, you did have the you had them 1 to 12, so you got a bit too greedy there. So you miss out on any points there. Unlucky, mate.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yep.
Unlucky, buddy.
Titans Storm. Titans 16 defeated by Storm 28. Everyone tried to get a bit too cute. And back to Titans. A lot of Titans 13 plus sort of stuff going on, which didn't obviously get anywhere near it. Matty was the only one who got a point here. He had the Storm minus 11.5. So well done to Matty.
By a bee's dick.
Yeah.
Wow.
Never in doubt, eh, Matty? Cowboys 32 defeat Tigers 28. Tough watch this one, particularly the first half. Everyone believed in the Tigers at your own peril, boys. We all had them in some way, shape or form, but obviously no points there.
Jeez, not a good week.
If we had backed him in just the second half, we would have been laughing. But
Yeah.
obviously, famously, Face the Music is a segment that rewards the full 80-minute prediction. So
Famously.
Unfortunately, no points there. Next game, Manly 34 defeat the Broncos 6. A lot of us had Broncos 13 plus, which was, of course, wrong. Timmy, you had Manly minus 3.5. Rue, you had Manly 13 plus for $3.15. Well played.
Yeah, I can pick a shit football team when I see it.
Oh, wow. You don't even pick a team, let alone a shit one.
Next game, Rabbitohs 30 defeated by Warriors 36. Den and Timmy and myself had the Wires 1-12 for $3. Those are the only points we had coming out of that game. Panthers
Thanks for coming, baby.
Panthers Eels. Panthers 18 defeat Eels 10. Nobody had the Panthers 1-12. Denon and Timmy had the Panthers 13 plus. There's a couple of Eels 13 pluses as well. No points for anybody in that one.
Damn it.
Then we got the Chooks 24 defeated by the Raiders 26. Matty took the Raiders head to head for $1.83. Timmy took them 1-12 for $2.29. Well
Finally
played.
backed your own team, mate.
Thanks,
Jeez.
boys.
Origin, none of us hit the frame with the player of the match or an anytime try scorer. The only correct results were Timmy and Matty, who had the Blues 13 plus for $3.50. So at the end of round 13, big weekend of moving and shaking for one. Tim Williams, $13.44 he walked away with.
Here he comes.
Matty was $9.13. Denon, $5.75. Myself, $4.90. Rue bringing up the tail this week with $3.15.
Hold on. The Blues won by 12. What the fuck are we talking about? I
was waiting for you to work that out.
I took them 1-12.
I was thinking too. I was like 13 plus. I felt like it was they missed all the kicks, and that's why they didn't get 13 plus because Lomax missed that last.
That's right.
Once again, Queenslanders not doing their job.
Well,
it's been a big week.
He's from Canberra.
I know he's from
He's
Canberra.
Canberra.
He's the worst mix of all time.
I'm still
Give me
on,
my points.
I think it must be the magnetic force of Magnetic Island fiddling with my calculating instruments. I'll have to recalculate them and let them where you settle. But even without that, I think Timmy still was the big mover and shaker.
Well, they lose $3.50, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Yep. I can try and work that out on the fly.
So
Denon, I've got $119.84. Matty, take $3.50 off, $117.58. Rue, add $2.75 to $94.97. Timmy, take $3.50 off, $87.96. And myself, $79.88. And that is Face the Music. For
what did it end up? The same order though?
yeah, it'd be same order.
Same order. Okay. Okay.
You weren't going to say anything, you prick.
Why would I?
That is awful.
I was just saying the whole game.
typical New
That's
South Wales.
atrocious.
I knew I had them 13 plus. I was just watching Cleary miss kick after miss. Then he had the field goal shot from 10 out in front with about 2 minutes to go. Missed that. I'm like, it's just not meant to be. We'll take the win.
Yeah. I'll
I
abandon
can't
those.
believe he was going to walk away with that.
Yeah, well, it's typical New South Wales fashion.
It's not my job to add it up, is it?
I might just take your points off, just make it easier.
So what's the scores at the moment then?
That was it.
Overall.
No,
That was it.
So you're in front, then Matty, then Rue, then
Oh.
Timmy had a big week, and then I'm last.
So I'm still in front?
You're still in front.
You're last now.
Yeah. Big news.
What?
Huge.
Been
Wow.
climbing.
Jeez.
Guys, it's round 13. So yeah.
Oh, wow.
14 rounds to go.
Oh, that's good stuff. All right, that's Face the Music brought to you by Sportsbet. Massive thank you as always to Sportsbet. Give us a follow on the feed. We raised the bat, 100K copies. We're moving and shaking. Give Hammy a follow as well. All righty, it's now time for the code story of the week. Make sure to go to codesports.com.au/bloke. Use code bloke for your discount, guys. You get for the entire year, it's $49. But mate, welcome first of all. And what's the story this week?
Hey boys, yeah, thanks for having me. Please log on and sign up. I need the job. I need to stay employed, so here every week to try and keep that happening. So
Yep.
I don't think I'm going to follow that last segment. That was outstanding. I mean, if I was given 3, 2, 1s, you'd be your Lockie Galvin take, your sports bet stuff this week. Terrific.
Oh, thank you very much.
That's what he's here for. That's what he's here
Screwed the
for.
whole thing
Let myself
up.
down a bit with my simple addition, the whole point of the
Content
segment.
Rue.
Yeah. Thank you, Mobsy. Thank you.
Speaking of content, so what we've done this week is, so Code Sports has obtained the NRL's confidential salary cap benchmarking document. We love a leak in the media. It's just Christmas whenever we get our hands on a little document like this. So, the governing body collates this every year, and what it does is it provides all 17 clubs with information about salary cap use. So it takes every club's top 30 roster in salary cap order and outlines the average and median wage for each position. So, and it's split into sort of the 1 to 5, 6 to 10, all the way down to 26 to 30. So, and it gives us a breakdown of what the top earners in each position receive. So, I know this sounds a bit inside baseball stuff, and although it doesn't actually name players, our investigations around our Rich 100 stuff that we do every year into player salaries, we're sort of able to determine who's in which position. But why this is interesting, one angle on this is because it's a blueprint for success. And how it provides that is it's a window into the makeup of the top 4 sides from recent seasons based on their age, their outlay of the roster and the key positioning. And in fact, there's a breakdown on how the rosters of top 4 clubs, top 8, bottom 4, bottom 8 are used. So it gives you a chance. If you're a club who's not performing very well, you can sort of see where clubs are spending big on their roster. And I'll give you an example, which is the Bulldogs, right? Their recipe for success is coming thick and fast at the moment because a couple of years ago in their wooden spoon season, someone at the Dogs had told me that there was no one player in that top 30 roster that was on minimum wage. What? The year that they won the wooden spoon, their salary cap was so out of whack because they'd had coach after coach after coach. So went from Des Hasler to Dean Pay to Trent Barrett, which with it came rebuild after rebuild. And when you're a struggling club, what do you struggle to do? You struggle to attract talent. So you pay overs to get guys. But the fact that they've gone from a roster that was so skewed to having now 12, 13 rounds into the season, killing it, going really well, looking for a grand final berth on the back of this. It's really remarkable. But so some of the mainstays that we found for this benchmarking document, that the recipe for a top 4 success is you need 5 players. Your top 5 players are paid a combined $4.5 million. And the caveat for that is they've got to be the right players. You've got to have 3 players earning in excess of $800,000 a season. And the average age of your spine has to be 26. That's what's the last few years has proved.
Wow.
That's what a premiership winning... that's what a top 4 roster looks like. And we all know that you want to win a comp, you want to finish in that top 4. So it gives...
Isn't that kind of contrary to what we've been told, though, where, you're not your best until you're like in your late 20s as a half?
Yeah, well, you're taking your spine, your 1, 6, 7 and 9 that throws them into them. And it's funny, isn't it? Guys like Nathan Cleary and Isaiah Katoa have really skewed what we've traditionally looked at with a halfback as to how, when they really come in their own, you look at the Raiders with Jamal Fogarty, 31 and great, and just signed a 3-year deal with Manly because he's going so well and people are looking at where they can get the best out of their spine. But you have a look what the Bulldogs have, right? They won't have... Their top 5 earners won't be taking home $4.5 million, but that's due to the fact they've got no $1 million a season player in their roster. Well, their guy's worth more than $1 million, I'd say, but they're not paying anyone at the moment. And that's been that really threadbare approach from Cam Serrato and Phil Gould. But what they do have, their 3 highest paid players, Stephen Crichton, Billy Kickow, Matt Burton, all taking home more than $800,000, so that fits the bill. And the average age of their spine with Toby Sexton in it is 26. If Hammy's man Lockie Galvin slots in there at some point, that'll get into 25. So, but
And he still lands under that 800K as well.
Yeah. And I was doing this earlier because on the back of what Timmy's Raiders did last night, I got really excited about your team, mate. And I know he leaves at the end of this year, Fogarty, but your average age of your spine at the moment is 25 and a half. Your top 5 players don't get into that $4.5 million range, and you've only got... So you'd have Tarpanay, Papali'i, and maybe Hudson Young that'd be the 800,000 earners, but they may be the team that flips the script. Because we spoke about this in the green room, looking at that approach that the Raiders have taken to their recruitment at the moment, with Savelio Tamale and Ethan Sanders making his Raiders debut was great to see. But these young guys that is he going to flip the script on what this takes to win a comp?
Yeah,
or make
I
a top four?
I feel like the Raiders are an exception to the rule and probably all these stats that you throw out because historically they've struggled to attract the big names in the game, which means rarely do we have those players that are on well over $1 million because we can't get them to Canberra. So that's where Ricky thinks outside the box, and he's attacked the UK for a lot in the Super League and brought a lot of pommies over. He's had to sort of invest in youth and catch players that catch the eye at young ages to bring them through. So we don't do things like the Melbourne Storm where let's go bang, 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 let's just get basically the 4 best spine players in the comp and build off that. The Raiders can't do that. So their squad structure, because they're not spending big money, we've always got amazing depth in our squad because there's more money to spend across our 30 because we're not going 2-3 players over $1 million like other clubs do.
Yeah, and that's as well as the top part of the top 30 guys, the bottom half of your salary, of your top 30 roster is really important. So on average, your top 4 teams have almost 11 players that they're paying less than $200,000. But when you flick it down to the bottom 4 teams, they've only got 9 players earning less than $200,000. So they're, again, forced to pay overs to play at clubs that aren't performing as well and puts real pressure on salary cap management and getting things right. And you speak of the Melbourne Storm, their spine, obviously, $1 million players all throughout, but the talent identification that they go through, and the guys, there's been examples over and over the years, and Dan, you said it before about Max King, identified him almost too early, right, out of the Gold Coast, and, just getting those right guys in the right positions to do it. So, I don't know, I find this really interesting to see how my club will go going forward to be able to try and build what they're trying, what history suggests you need to try and be a good team.
And so basically the idea is that in a nutshell, you need to have a top heavy cap. So basically you're spending a lot of your cap, which would be, is your cap $11 million now?
Yeah, 11.8.
So you're spending about 35% of it on 3 players or 4 players?
So
4 players.
The top 4 sides in 2024 spent 40% of their salary cap on their top 5 players.
Wow.
60% of it on their top 10 players.
Wow. And so that's why you might see some guy right now who signed a 2 or 3 year deal who was like on the fringe of Origin, but he's on minimum wage. And you go, how the hell is he on minimum wage? It's because unless you get into that top bracket of a roster and get the timing right with your contract, you could be on minimum for quite a while.
Yeah, and that's the problem. That's trying to get that window to marry up. And we did this last year, and the bottom 4 sides last year at the time were the Tigers, the Dragons, the Bulldogs, and Titans. So they were the bottom 4 teams from the season before, but they frittered away nearly 10% of their salary cap on paying players who are no longer at the club. So these termination payments to go, I'll chip in to 100K of Ruse deal to play somewhere else, and you do that when you've got upheaval with your management or you change direction and where things go, and you're having to, all right, I've got a new vision for my club, but again, just puts the onus back on stability in having a credible
it's like doing it right, I guess, because you look at the Dogs and they've gone, you know what, we're willing to screw our cap for a 12-month period by paying all these people to leave, but then we're almost like refreshing it, where there are some clubs that aren't willing to do that because they're like, nah, I'm not paying you anything. But it sounds like you kind of need to cop that 12-month period of aggressive movement in the market to make sure you can, rebound.
Very smart management to pay me to play somewhere else.
But you look at some of the clubs, even Parramatta this year with Joash Papali and Jordan Samrani. They were on contract with the Bulldogs, but I wouldn't say deemed surplus to requirements, but they just ran out of top 30 spots. So they had to shed players as part of this.
Yeah, that Joash Papali one was always interesting because you're like, man, he would fit that fullback role for them quite well right now because he's such a good player.
Yeah. And it's all part of – it's some of the hiccups that Cam Serrato and Phil Gould have to deal with as they restructure this roster. But they've done a remarkable job in such a short amount of time when you look at the roster that they've got and the position they're in. So the other interesting point with this when it comes to termination payments is, do you think now we may see a little bit more in the rise of loan deals? Because a guy like Bud Sullivan signs a 4-year deal to go with the Tigers, sees a year of it out, and gets tapped and says you can go elsewhere if you can. Hasn't got a deal, so loan deal to South Sydney. Michaela Ravalawa, to sort out their top 30 roster, the Dragons give him a loan deal for a year. So they're not having to lump a termination payment in their top 30, and they're not losing a top 30 spot, which, when you look at the 26 to 30 spots are also important. So maybe we'll get a bit more of a loan deal.
It gives them an opportunity to like, for example, Bud Sullivan. If you're the Rabbitohs, you're like, well, we want to keep this bloke. Like, he's a bloody good fringe first grader. If we can come to some kind of agreement where Tigers are paying 100K and we're paying maybe 400K, not even that, maybe 300K, all of a sudden we've got this backup half that's quite young and ready to go when Cody Walker retires.
Yeah, and if you have a look at the Roosters situation at the moment, if DCE arrives there next year, do you want to lose Savala?
No,
Smith?
it's a good point.
You loan him out for a year. I'm really surprised. I think it was it the same year Harry Grant went to the Tigers that Corey Horsburgh went to Canterbury. I thought that would just start a domino effect. Yeah. That this would become the obvious thing to do. I'm really surprised that it hasn't kicked on.
I wonder what it's like if the player agents don't want it, or if the clubs are reluctant to send someone there, or I
get a feeling that a lot of it is we don't want him to go there and kill it, and it makes us look bad.
Yeah,
because you've got to be. For example, there's a reason why. The reason why Harry Grant went to the Tigers is because the Storm were like, they're not competitors to us right now. No offense, but there's no way that they're able to send Harry Grant to the Roosters, to the Broncos. You just have to look at the Roosters currently. They're not letting Dom Young play for the Knights against them, just in one game. Yeah. So I think it has a lot to do with optics.
Yeah, and even Ricky Stewart sending Corey Horsburgh up to Canterbury, they were such a basket case at that point. He would have been confident they're coming back.
Yep. Or he's not going to be better. Because the problem is, you send a kid away and they kill it. It's like, well, you're the problem, not the kid. The kid's clearly a bloody good footy player, but you're the one that's not getting the best out of him. So I think there's a lot of that. But I reckon clubs have just got to move past that and go, listen, we need to start moving and shaking our salary caps. Because the problem is that a salary cap, unless you can work the market as well as Gus Gould and Ciraldo did, where they were super aggressive in their movements, you might be facing the ramifications of a salary cap nightmare for 3 or 4 years. It genuinely might take you that long to clean it up.
Yeah, and that's the issue, right? You look at what Riles is doing at Parramatta, trying to turn that around. You look at what's happening at St George Illawarra. They're in the market for a big prop. That they want to get their roster right. They've got to get their halves.
Could argue, look at the Broncos situation. They've invested heavily in this core group of players at the moment, and it's not looking great.
Yeah, and they've got a number coming off contract, right? So November 1, Payne Haas. All reports are that you think he'll stay. Tony Staggs, Selwyn Cobbo, and the interesting part with this is, you saw Cobbo move from that fullback role where he was filling in for Reece Walsh to the wing at the weekend, and things like the Zach Lomax centre wing comparison. The top 5 centres in the game earn on average $200,000 more than the top 5 wingers.
That's crazy. You would think wingers are more valuable these days.
Has the gap closed a little bit? Because it does feel like that role's changed a lot in the last.
It's changed a little bit, but even so. Let's do the breakdown here. Wings, 621,000 on average for the top 5. Your centres, 839,000. So there's a big difference in but you've got Stephen Crichton, Herbie Farnworth, and guys like that in there. For the wingers, you'd be Brian To'o, Zach Lomax in that ilk. But seeing what those guys did at Origin, you think, geez, the money's there for them.
Yeah.
And is it? I think it's Lock that are that best average.
Yeah. Locks are interesting. Locks have been the big jumpers. So they've gone from 810,000 last year to 957,000 this season. But the interesting thing I find is the diversity of that position between Isaiah Yeo, Tino Fa'asuamaleaui, Cam Murray when he's fit, Jake Travojevic, and the Bulldogs, considering all this talk about whether Matt Burton long-term goes to be a ball-playing 13 in that regard, but shows the growing influence of the locks in the game. And what about the difference here? Your fullbacks lead as the big earners. The top 5 fullbacks earn $1.08 million. The halfbacks earn $1.05 million, and your 5/8s are back at $923,000, and just held up by the bare couple in that regard. So, yeah, geez, if you want your 6 on your back or you want your 7, I'd go the 7.
So what, if you are a lock forward, send a Christmas card to Isaiah Yo. Like, what he's, like, the way that they've won these 4 comps and all these players have left and he's one of the permanent fixtures that they've kept, and even when Nath Cleary's out, you know, Isaiah Yo holds it together still. Mate, the value that he's... I would imagine that's the reason for that position being shot up. Yeah. Even though a lot of, like, there's only one Isaiah Yo, there's no one else that really plays like him. And we even, up until last week, we get into the Origin arena and you go, I'd probably rather Cam Murray at lock.
Yeah. Damn, so interesting. Jeez, you don't... As a fan, you just like, you look at the squad and you just go, oh, why haven't we recruit this? And why is our salary cap all over the place and everything? But like the amount of like toing and froing and trying to manage that cap, my God. And also like, you know, we don't like to talk about it, but like, you know, if you're managing the cap, you're like, well, is that club, you know, are they bending the rules? Should I bend the rules? Should I not? You know, I mean, there'd be so many hard questions to ask yourself when you look across and go, how the hell did that club get those players under the cap? They must be bending the rule. You know, it'd just be tough. It'd be so tough.
It'd be really hard. And then it's, even with your young guys coming through, you know, we have issues that we ring clubs and, hey, I want to talk to a young player at your club who's coming through, tell his story. Because we grew up learning everything about our footballers. We loved it so much. And they'll go, oh, look, he's in the middle of contract negotiation at the moment, and if you know, we give him too much good press and that, and his manager's going to come back asking for more money. So we have to sit on our hands waiting to tell a good story about a good kid. So all you people out there who have a crack at us for not telling good stories, we're trying.
I'll give you an example.
Clubs hold us back at times.
Yeah, I won't say who it was, but there was one club that was really angry and frustrated that I reacted to a young kid's highlights because they thought like, you know, that his value is going to go up. We're going to have struggle to keep him. But it's just like, mate, like, come on. You can't keep him under wraps forever. Yeah. So, yeah, it definitely does happen. Yeah, and all those tactics happen about trying to reduce. I remember, and look, maybe he wasn't, but I remember I made my debut. And to talk myself up here for a second, at the time was the most metres ever by a debutant in the modern era. Maybe, it might have been ever, but it was in the modern era. It was like 275 or whatever. And I scored a 75-metre try or whatever. As soon as I walked off the field, literally the first thing the media manager said to me was like, you won't be in first grade next week, just so you know.
The media manager told you.
And on top of that, there was like no interviews. It was all wrapped under. And what the ironic thing was, I actually did play the next week. So it was all just about like just chopping you down, keeping your ego in check. And that's just a good example. As well as like we did a 3-2-1 and like, I wasn't even in the 3-2 or the 1. I was like, what happened there? And Wayne Bennett's the coach. And I always think like he's looked at that and gone, because at the end of the game, we'd all do our own 3, like we'd say who was the 3-2-1. And like I didn't get 3-2 or 1. And I was like, that's fucking a bit weird. Like the debutant going, well, usually they would be, and I reckon it's just Wayne Bennett's way of just going like, just keep his ego down.
How good's the media manager pulling rank over Wayne Bennett? Like, you won't be there next week,
He would have been
mate.
told. He would have been told by Wayne to say that though. But yeah, just the way it works. That's just all about keeping value. And then, so that their contract time came. Wayne sat me down. He said, "Listen, we got no money in the cap, but there's money next year. There's always money next year." He said, "If you sign for minimum, which is 50 grand and match payments, I promise you'll start on the wing." And so I was like, "Mate, that's all I want to do is play for the Broncos. Absolutely, I'll sign for minimum." Got to next year, didn't start on the wing, started in reserve grade. So it's just the way it is. That's the way it is.
When you go back to our player agent survey from a few weeks ago, one of the main complaints is there's no money in the cap.
Always. It's always next year, mate. Yeah. If you take this, I promise you next year there's money, and then all of a sudden there's no money again.
And that's what upsets. That's the potential to upset clubs playing rosters when the kids who have been brought through get told this, and then you watch your club go out and cherry pick the big talent and go, hang on, I thought there was no money in the cap.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
You know, and it's, I never begrudge a player going and earning what they can.
So same thing happened. So when I was about to re-sign that year, they came to me, and I was playing first grade at the time. They came to me and said, you're the third winger in line at the moment. It's Darius Boyd, it's Stevie Michaels. This is just about 1 or 2 games into me starting to play first grade. And I was like, man, I'm a first grader now because I already debuted the year before. And they were like, that's just... And also, there's no money in the cap. There's 50K for you here. Stay on minimum. And I was like, I don't care about the money. I just want to play first grade. Anyway, so I went out to the market, obviously got the offer from the Warriors, verbally agreed. And then I started to go really well. All of a sudden, there was all this money in the cap. You're our number 1 winger. We want you to stay. What do you need? And I was like, I've already said yes. I can't go back on my word to the Warriors. And so it happens all the time. Like I'm not like it just happens all the time to players. It's just the way it is, mate. That's super interesting. Other stories: UFC champion Volkanovski, personal 10K gift to the Dragons. What other stories you got there on Code Sports at the moment?
Yeah, there's plenty going on at the moment, isn't there? Well, we're trying to get on the back of Origin, right? Because we've only got a week now until teams are named. So, I've got to go through my little list now.
You got White Tim Sheen was a no-show at the West Tigers 2005 Premiership.
That's a sad story.
Yeah.
For a team that hasn't had a lot of success, Hammy, that you want to go and celebrate your 20-year anniversary. And, poor Tim Sheen's still holds a little bit of a grudge, I think, over the way his most recent departure from the club. Good insight there.
And Jarrell Yayi makes an unconventional comeback to rugby league, the great Jarrell Yayi. Inside the Sydney Roosters production line of talent, successful pathways, system on display in first grade. Guys, you know the best articles are on Code Sports. Use your Bloke code to get your discount. It is the deal of a lifetime. Trust me. Once you see how much content you get, you will not go back. I promise you that. Codesports.com.au/bloke. Mate, Mobsy, thanks for joining us, mate. Appreciate it.
Boys.
Alrighty, that was Code Story of the Week. As I said, guys, codesports.com.au/bloke. Use code BLOKE. Get your discount now. You will not be disappointed. And also, it's a really good way to show Code Sports that it's good to partner with Bloke because hopefully this segment continues into for the rest of the year. So go to codesports.com.au/bloke, use code BLOKE. Also, just quickly as well, Jai Opetaia, he is fighting this Sunday, guys. Please, let's get around this absolute gun of a fighter, absolute legend of a fighter. He is fighting this Sunday, and if he wins this fight, he will then fight Zerto Ramirez. Most likely, Zerto Ramirez has finally come out and said that he is willing to fight Jai Opetaia. It's come out of his mouth now. So it looks like after both of these two fight their current fighters, they will meet, and that will give Jai an opportunity to unify the division. But it is this Sunday that he will be fighting, and it's going to be a bloody good fight, guys. Jai Opetaia, when is his fights ever boring? Seriously. And he's fighting Claudio Scow, I think that's how you say it. It's this Sunday, guys. Do not miss it. Let's get around Australia's best boxer right now. We do not show enough love. We always talk about, we want homegrown boxers. We want Australian boxing to be at the top. We'll get around Jai Opetaia because he's the best in the business. He's the best in the world in his division. And his next fight, oh my God, you want to be there for that. Absolutely want to be there for that. So this Sunday, he's fighting. The card starts at 12. Make sure to watch the big fella go to work. Okay, it is time now for Menulog Hungriest Player. This week's Hungriest Player, first of all, before we get into it, speaking of hungry, a big shout out to Mancini's Belfield on Menulog, serving up mouth-watering bolognese straight from their family roots in Naples? Is it Naples? It's Naples. Naples, yeah. So use the code, and guess what the code is? CNK, that's right, Charles Nickel-Clook said he is the hungriest player for $7 off Italian this week. Use code CNK at Mancini's or another Italian restaurant for $7 off this week. CNK was the hungriest player. And what I love the most about CNK's performance is when he re-signed those extra few years, I was a bit surprised, to be honest. I was like, I felt like he was getting to that point in his career where he could still go over to the Super League, absolutely kill it, get a decent contract. And I felt like because he's such a high work rate player, had he almost like worked himself to the point where he couldn't bounce back to that top tier form this year. How wrong I was. He was absolutely phenomenal on the weekend. And he truly is, he's part of the heart and soul of that side. The amount of work he gets through. In the first half alone, he was already over 200 metres. He had 17 runs. And the amount of times that the Warriors are on the back foot, they're in the grind. And CNK, Charles Nickel-Clook said, just rocks up for that tough hit up. It is unbelievable. He was absolutely outstanding on the weekend, and he is our hungriest player. And I tell you, just a really good example of sometimes nice guys do win. They don't finish last because CNK, one of the nicest guys in rugby league, an outstanding fullback.
I was the same, mate, a few weeks ago when it sounded like he was going over there. I sort of went, yeah, okay. He's at that part of his career. He'll do really well over there. You know, you've got a Joey Manu who could become available. They've got Tane Torpiki at the club. They've got all these things that they can do, the Warriors. I sort of went, okay, I get it. When he re-signed, I was a little bit surprised. But, I mean, when you have a look at, the two teams he's been in, your Raiders side, Timmy, they were just a team made of ticker. They weren't the most talented side or any of that sort of stuff. Like, I think he got to the end of that grand final, he couldn't walk because of cramp. He just worked himself to a standstill. And then, you know, yesterday, 346 metres. Like
100 post-contact.
Like, when you talk about guys that, you know, personify the Warriors, you know, we always have these hard-nosed front rowers and all that. But, you know, I've said it a number of times. I think this is this Warriors team. I think they would beat any Warriors team that's come before them. I think there has been better Warriors teams as far as their upside and all that. But this team just hangs in every single contest, and I think he's one of the faces of that.
He is so important at absorbing pressure.
Yeah.
Yesterday, their ability to absorb pressure when they were under the pump with the Rabbitohs, he's a big part of that because he takes those tough carries when they need it. I think as well we're seeing Kay, like, he's a really good example of sometimes the best individual player isn't the best player for the position in the system that you have. And we've been fighting tooth and nail for CNK at fullback for a very long time at the Warriors. And a lot of people are, you got to put RTS back there. Is RTS a better player than CNK? Yes, he is. Does he suit their system better, though? No, he doesn't. He's better on the wing. And CNK just proving that. Keeping a guy like RTS out of the fullback position, a Dally M winner, and he deserves it. He absolutely deserves it. What do you reckon, Timmy?
Yeah, and like the question was around, there's never going to be any doubt around Chance's ability to, you know, run for his 200 plus metres and take a lot of the tough carries and do all that. It was around, has he lost a bit of that spark to his game and that creativity and his ability as a modern day fullback that you need to be able to impact games and turn to for big moments? Chance has answered that question in recent weeks with not just the 340 metres, but like he had 8 tackle busts. He was the difference in this game, really.
Yeah.
And it was 2 fullbacks that was just going absolutely toe-to-toe, and Chance won the battle. He was phenomenal in this game.
And it's such a good point because you look across it and you've got this absolute genetic freak in Latrell Mitchell, one of the greatest players of his generation. And then, don't get me wrong, Chance is a very talented player, but he's just all ticker, like genuinely just all ticker. And the battle was unbelievable.
Latrell Mitchell, and we'll talk about him more later, obviously, but was exceptional in this game. He couldn't have done much more to win the Rabbitohs and keep him in this game and keep him in the contest. He ran for 104 metres.
Yeah.
Chance ran for like 3.5 times what Latrell did.
Chance's post-contact metres was 100.
Yeah, there you go.
And so it just shows you the different types of fullbacks they are. But also, just because you aren't that genetic absolute freak, you can impact the game in other ways, which is just ticker, fitness, just keep turning up. What do you reckon, Hammy?
Unbelievable. He, started the year a little bit slow. He's had to fight off a couple of guys who, maybe the Warriors would have had a bit of an eye to the future with some of those. They've got some very talented guys there who could play in his position. But, he's just showed his class is permanent, and he just rounds out the team so well. He suits with the style that they're trying to play. Huge performance from him yesterday. He was outstanding. So, I think they're just so well balanced at the moment. And they really could be a premiership threat. They're into $14 now to win the comp. They were 40,
so they've halved.
They were $40 a couple of weeks ago, I think they're legit,
They look so
they're
good.
a top 4 team.
So here's our Hungriest player. Use code CNK for $7 off Italian this week. And our massive shout out to Mancini's in Belfort on Menulog. And also a massive thank you, as always, to Menulog. All right, it's time for the Grumpy Team of the Week, brought to you by Grumpy Coffee. Trust me, guys, if you haven't given Grumpy a try, give it a try. Try our Everyday Blend. That's my favourite. We've got the pods, we've got the ground, and we've got the whole bean. Order it at grumpycoffee.com.au. It'll come to you within, 24 to 48 hours. We've got that all sorted now, and I promise you, you will not be disappointed with the beautiful coffee that we make. All righty, the Grumpy Team of the Week is this. Chance at fullback. On the wing, Alex Johnson. At 3, it is Stafford Toa from the Tigers. At 4, McLean from the Panthers. 5, Falalau, I hope I'm saying that correctly, from the Manly Seagulls. At 6, Purdue. At 7, Dearden. That's right, we went with a 6-7 from the Cowboys, an outstanding performance. At 8, Couchman. 9, the guy that I put you on to, guys, Owen Paddy. At 10, Bullymore. 11, Bateman. 12, Olakawatu. 13, Clark. 14, Hopewadi. 15, Metcalf. 16, Latrell. And 17, Katoa from the Melbourne Storm.
I was just reading an article, a few quotes, and I thought I heard that in the background. I was like, this motherfucker.
That is our team of the week. Let us know in the comment section, guys. And as always, like and subscribe. It is really helping us. We are record numbers across the board, and it's all thanks to you guys. Hit that like button. Comment. We always try to reply to your comments as well. We really do appreciate it. It is time now for the Kayo Can't Miss moment. And I say moments. the Kayo Can't Miss moments of the week. And round 13 saw 2 huge comebacks, but both teams just falling short. A hot Manly over a cold Broncos, and the Raiders proving their premiership credentials. Fox League exclusive games in round 14 are Storm vs Cowboys, Sharks vs Warriors, Broncos v Titans, Raiders vs Rabbitohs, and the Bulldogs v the Eels on Monday, 4 p.m. And football is coming back to Kayo with the FIFA Club World Cup just around the corner. All 63 matches are starting June 15th and will be available to stream live for all Kayo customers. This is the first time the tournament will feature 32 teams competing to be crowned world champions. Some of the biggest stars in world football participate include Messi, Haaland, Kane, Mbappe, and Cole Palmer. Get on board today. It's on Kayo Can't Miss It. The Kayo Can't Miss moments are Owen Paddy. Owen Paddy, incredible impact off the bench for the Raiders. And I tell you what, Roo already spoke about, you saw, like he'd come on and he'd do his job for the Raiders and he'd do it really well. But Roo kept on saying, there's much more to this kid than just do your job, especially with his kicking game. And I agree with Roo. He posted last night, the Raiders do not win this game without Paddy. He comes on, he kicks a 40-20, completely shifts momentum, and then he grubbers through for a Tarpanet try. But he did it single-handedly, because even if Tarpanet wasn't there, he would have scored himself. You know how I know that? Because I had him anytime try scorer. Thanks heaps, Tarpanet. I tell you what, we spoke about it in the green room. The exciting thing is this guy's a Queenslander. The exciting thing is that we're probably going to see a Paddy Grant rotation in the near future. The Raiders have absolutely nailed it. And I tell you what, I still feel like if Reece Robson wanted to come for the right price, maybe you could have fit him in because they've got a bunch of different hookers in the side. However, I am coming more around to the fact that they backed in this rookie and it might have been the right decision. What do you reckon, Ren?
Yeah, I said at the time, I think they definitely made the right decision. I think Paddy's going to be an absolute weapon. And you just saw in that game, that was pretty much like a 45. Not a 40-20. That was a huge nudge in that moment. He was named to start. He didn't end up starting, but the game just completely turned in that moment. And, I mean, Billy Slater picked Rob Toyer last week off 10 games of first grade. Honestly, if you would have asked me last week, who do I think would handle Origin better if they were picked out of the blue now, I would have said Owen Paddy.
You know, it's great, and I know it's insane, and maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but if he was picked to go tandem with Grant, I actually wouldn't mind it.
Mate, if I was you guys and he was picked for the next game, I'd be full of confidence. I have no doubt whatsoever he's going to make it in the rep arena, and it's going to be an interesting few years at the Canberra Raiders with Tom Starling re-side and Jaden Brayley being there. But if Ricky has all these guys buying in, which seemingly he does, just giving Owen Paddy the opportunity, because I don't think there's much he's gonna, with all due respect to Tom Starling, he's a bit of a rogue nine, and that's the reality of him. He's a very good player, but I think Jaden Brayley, I think he can learn a lot off Jaden Brayley. I think it's going to be scary to see. I think Paddy's ready now to be the starting nine.
Yeah.
With another year with Jaden Brayley and whatnot, I just think in 2 years' time, I think it's going to be Harry Grant, then Owen Paddy is the best hookers in the game.
Well, I look at it like this. I go, okay, if Owen Paddy trains every single day with that Raiders forward pack, surely he'll be able to, you couldn't get a better measuring stick of, can he handle the forwards in Origin? Now, granted, I know Origin is a next level, but if you were to say, okay, what forward pack would you like a number 9 to train with every single day to see whether his defence is as ready as it can be for Origin? It will be the Raiders forward pack. Yeah. If he can handle that Raiders forward pack in training, like for example, even Harry Grant at times, in defence can miss tackles. So I wouldn't. I think it's a huge call. It's a risky call, but I think he should be on the radar at the very least, brought into the squad at some point this series. Because I think in Origin, at least with Harry Grant, I just want him on there fresh the whole time. I don't want him gassed in the 60th minute or the 30th minute of each half. I just think that, look, maybe it might be a little bit too early this year, but I got a lot of confidence that Paddy will be in that Queensland squad at least 2 years max. 2 years max.
Yeah, and I think this year is too early. I think that's the reality of it, especially when you've got a guy like Kurt Mann at your 18th man. He's perfect for that sort of 14 role. But yeah, I think that, obviously Ben Hunt, Harry Grant, a tremendous combo for a long time. Yeah. I reckon in 10 years' time it's going to be an interesting combo, which one was better. Because I think Paddy, with his kicking game and just the age he's at, just how well he can already see it, I'm terrified as a New South Welshman that'll be your 9 and 14.
Thoughts on Owen Paddy, Timmy, as a Raiders fan?
Yeah, very, very exciting. And I think, like to your point, I don't know how deep and how like advanced the talks with Reece Robson got or didn't, but regardless, he hasn't ended up there, and it sounds like they didn't get too far, and Ricky's just immediately been vindicated with the hooking options we've got. And not just the emergence of Owen Paddy and the faith in him, but the faith in Tom Starling, who's been one of the better nines in the competition this season. And I think like Origin this year is well too premature chat. I think this time next year we could be sitting here going, all right, he could be coming off the bench for them potentially, but heaps too soon. It was literally at the point where I actually thought, why is he on the bench? Because like the minutes he'd been playing leading into this game with Tommy Starling suspended, 11, 12, 7, 15 and 18. Like, that was getting such little impact off him due to the minutes because Tom Starling was playing big time. It was almost like somewhat of a wasted bench spot because even when he came on, Tom Starling a lot of the time would move to 13 and still be on the field. I'm like, all right, do we really need to take up a bench spot? Very intrigued now to see what happens next week when Starling returns from injury. Like, you just look at it and I think there's no reason to not continue starting Starling with the way he's been playing and the rate the Raiders are going. But I do think you sit there and go, oh, surely we can get 25 to 30 minutes out of Owen Paddy off the bench and coming on, and whether that's Starlo having a break, whether that's Starlo shifting to 13, which he's been doing. But yeah, the signs are great, mate. Kicking game is honestly phenomenal. And, you know, looking at the Raiders long term and Jamal Fogarty, who such a key part to this team, his biggest asset is his kicking game. We're going to have a very young spine next season when it's probably Sanders that comes into the halves, depending on how they want to play it. The kicking game of Paddy once Jamal's gone will be huge for us.
Huge. But it's, in regards to the Origins chat, like I think it's more of that kind of Rob Toya area, even probably less because he's had less minutes. It's more of like if he was to be thrown in there, I believe he actually would handle himself. However, I'm not going to throw him in there just yet. But I actually think he would handle Origin. I really do.
I think as well, you got to think like, okay, Rob Toya's gone in there after 10 games. Like his job was play right centre and mark Latrell, who said most dangerous job in the world. Did it really well. Paddy's job would be what? Come off the bench, play 20 minutes. Yeah. I don't think he'll play this year by any means. No. But I think if he was, I'm hyper confident he would handle it.
I agree.
I have no doubt he would handle it.
Because when he does come on, when you watch his defense is outstanding.
Yep.
Outstanding. His tackle technique is outstanding. So I'm with you, Timmy. Like it's more just a thought exercise. There's some players
handle it.
Exactly. Because like some players you look at and you just go, I just don't think they'd handle Origin right now. I think that they just wouldn't be ready. There's just something about when he comes on, he doesn't look out of place at all in the Origin, in NRL, sorry.
Like if we take, 2 nines that we had in our CBA class this year, like if Riley Smith was picked for the Blues.
A bit too soon.
I think that is too soon.
Yeah.
And Riley Smith is playing 80 minutes every week.
Yeah.
Paddy, though, he just looks to me like he is going to be the next big thing at hooker for the next few years. And I think he's got the temperament to handle it. And I think, as you said, mate, being down there with Ricky and in that Raiders system, I think that matters.
This is how far Ricky's come, Timmy, as well. You know what's crazy is like I have 100% faith that Ricky Stewart is going to handle his development perfectly. That's how far he's come as a coach. Like I think the reason why he's getting so little minutes is because Ricky has learnt so much over these last decade of coaching of like, be patient with these young guys. Don't put them in too early. Don't rush those big, long minutes. And so I think even if he continues to play the way he is, I think that Ricky Stewart is going to be like, you are not starting, you're not becoming our starting hooker until next year. Yeah. And I'm going to stick to the plan no matter what. And it just, as I said, it just shows you how far Ricky has come. I think he'll be most likely part of the Queensland squad next year. I think he'll make his debut in 27. I'd be shocked if he doesn't make his debut in 27.
They've got a bye week after this. So that's Origin camp time.
Just get him in there.
Worth just getting him in there for the week. Just come and see how it's done.
The only way I see that probably potentially not happening is maybe Ricky sits there and goes, listen, just a bit too much too soon. Let's just be patient. But I'd love to see him as part of the camp because I just think that Harry Grant at Clubland can play those long minutes in Origin because he's a running hooker. You just can't. It's just physically impossible. But yeah.
It will be interesting in the next 2 years, though. Like, I think he's every chance to make his debut next year for Queensland. I genuinely think he could. And
I wouldn't be surprised.
If you have one of those 3 games where Harry Grant is injured or he's out or something like that, the immediate answer is Reid Marnie. I don't know if Reid Marnie's going to be the Bulldogs hooker on Tuesday. Like, realistically, like who is the next guys after that?
And if I'm being honest, it's not even just about, like, who's the next up. just watching Owen Paddy, if you watch him closely, he is a high quality number 9. The way he goes about his business at such a young age, I think the biggest area in his room, the biggest area that he will improve on is just his service. I think needs a little bit of improvement, but not by much. Outside of that, like, he's tough. His tackle technique's outstanding. His kicking game at such a young age is friggin' phenomenal. Mate, he is a special talent. And I've got 100% faith in Ricky will get the best out of him.
Oh, yeah, I'd obviously spoken about him on the show for a while, but last year I went down to Canberra. Josh was playing the Raiders down there, and he just happened to be playing Owen Paddy that day, and I just happened to be standing on the sideline watching it and watching Paddy close up. Like, I was already excited about it, but watching him that day, like, I remember turning to the Raiders guys and going, holy fuck, you have got something here. And they just all, we know, we're aware.
It's crazy. So exciting for Raiders fans.
There was no attention on him at all. There wasn't. Like,
they just nailed it. The Raiders have just nailed it. Like, even Sanders coming in and doing a job yesterday. They've just nailed it.
It's interesting that, it won't be him, but Starling, Brayley playing reserve grade next year, unless they just tried to turn Starlo into like more of a middle running forward, a 13 role or something. But yeah, one of those three, probably not Paddy, will be playing.
The Brayley signing for me is so interesting because, like, how much did you get him for? Like, it's almost who is making way for is he going to be playing reserve grade? He's way too good to be playing reserve grade.
To be honest, and I know obviously it's aged very well because he's played such good footy, I found the Starling re-signing a bit weirder to me. I thought that Starling would have looked around the room and gone, fuck, I'm a NRL 9. I can go somewhere and actually land a real spot. But I guess, obviously Starling went through, a lot of things off the field and the Raiders stood by him. So once again, it's just a credit to the Raiders, but mate, to have one of those guys playing reserve grade.
Crazy.
But in saying that, you have one injury and you go, okay, genius.
Yeah, so smart.
Genius. You can't go out and get the best fullback, the best halfback, whatever. If you can get 3 gun 9s, you might as well.
And, to Mobsy's point, talking about the Raiders before, we don't have these $1 million plus players, so we can disperse those funds a little bit and do things like this and have depth in the hooking spot because of it.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, like Jaden Brayley. I think people forget how good Jaden Brayley is.
Oh, he's so good. He's just been, the club's just been straight. Anyway, but yeah, the Kayo can't miss moments. It is absolutely Owen Paddy's impact off the bench, and to do it against the Roosters that are flying high at the moment. Roosters are playing some good footy, just super exciting. So, yeah, I think Roo, you've nailed it. I think that we'll see Paddy in a Queensland jersey in the next year or two. I think the only thing that would be stopping him is I really don't think. I think that they're going to look at it and go, we've got an opportunity to do with a Ben Hunt, Harry Grant rotation with Paddy and Grant. And this year, as we said, it's more just a thought idea of like, could you imagine that style of player in Origin and would he handle business? I think he actually would, but I wouldn't be obviously selecting him now, especially in a decider game too. But I had full confidence that he would go all right, absolutely. Okay, that's our Kayo Can't Miss moment. It is time now to begin reviewing the games. Alrighty, the Dragons defeat the Newcastle Knights, and don't forget, guys, next Tuesday, 6 p.m, the 10th, Bloke maroon and Bloke blue hats and jumpers are dropping. You don't want to miss it. Set your alarms. It's bloke.shop. It's the best way to support the platform. This is brought to you by Coastal Letting Co. They will give away a 7-night stay in a 2-bedroom apartment in Surfers Paradise valued at $2,200 to one lucky Bloke Club member. All you have to do is be a part of the Bloke Club and you're in the running. That's right. Coastal Letting Co. have become a part of the Bloke Club, and we are going to give away a 7-night stay in a 2-bedroom apartment in Surfers Paradise. As I said, guys, join the Bloke Club. We are doing, look, how many giveaways have we already done? You just want to join. It's totally free. We've given away so much, and we've still got to draw the Phrase skincare package as well. So make sure to join the Bloke Club. A massive thank you to Coastal Letting Co. A 7-night stay on a 2-bedroom apartment valued at $2,200 to one lucky Bloke Club winner. A massive thank you to Coastal Letting Co. And make sure to head to Coastal Letting Co. Go to the Bloke Club, head to Coastal Letting Co. Because they're supporting the Bloke Club as well. Okay, the Dragons defeat the Knights 20-6. I absolutely love this performance from the Dragons because it was controlled, it was disciplined. The Knights were in it for, I guess, a little bit, but the Dragons were by far and away the better side. Like, I really like this performance. I love the fact that Kyle Flanagan is now wearing the 7 jersey and King Tonga is in the 6 jersey. This was exactly what they needed to do, backing up after beating the Broncos. And all it is now is just about consistency. Listen, I don't need the Dragons to be a top 4 side, absolutely decimating sides, ready for a premiership. But if they can just stay at this level, at about an 8 out of 10 each week, they're going to win more games than they lose. They're going to find themselves in the top 8. This was an outstanding performance. I love what's happening right now at the Dragons, especially with their younger players.
Yeah, Dragons really well in this game. They're now sitting 8th on the ladder.
So
pretty good knock for the Superior Dragons.
Outstanding.
And yeah, I sort of think they'll finish around that 7 to 10 kind of mark. I think they'll do enough just to hang in enough games this year. I wouldn't say it was the most entertaining game in the world, but neither of these teams are high on confidence, flying at the moment. Like the Dragons just had to do what they had to do in this game.
100%. Yeah. Like, was it entertaining? No. But they got the job done. And they got the job done handedly. I think the Dragon side last year would have been dragged down to Newcastle's level and it would have been a shit fight. I think the Dragons this year, with these young guys coming through, were able to elevate themselves just enough. Again, I know it wasn't as I said, I don't need them to be a top 4 side playing this crazy footy, but I need them to be in control, get the job done in a real professional manner. And I really thought they did. What do you reckon, Timmy?
Yeah, the word professional is the key there, Kempy. They just look like a professional NRL outfit to me week in, week out, whereas even last year when they made a bit of a run and were sort of pushing for a top 8 berth, sort of surprisingly. But last year it was they'd have a good win, then they'd back it up getting towed by a bottom 4 team, and it was just like you didn't know what you were going to get. It was sort of 1 week on, 1 week off. This year, like they got blown out by the Roosters on Anzac Day when the Roosters were really good. Outside of that, their biggest defeat was 8 points to the Bulldogs earlier on in the year, which is, the doggies are top of the table. They go out there, they've got the consistency. You know what they're going to get from them. And even in this one, you go, not the most exciting game of all time, but they conceded 1 try to the Knights late on in the game. They're playing good footy. You know what you're going to get from them each week.
Yeah, and you can build on that. And, Flanagan down there, like he walked into there was no energy in the club. Like he has truly just instilled energy. There's a direction. They're heading the right way. And as I said, I really do feel like last year they would have been dragged into the mud and it would have been a complete shit fight against the Knights. But they kept their heads about them. They kept to their systems and they absolutely nailed it. What do you reckon, Hammy?
Yeah, well, to Timmy's point about what you're going to get from him, I feel like Flano's done a bit of a similar thing to Ricky. Like he's actually built a bit of a DNA around the Dragons. Like they don't often get blown out. They hang in a lot of games and they win a lot of the games that they are supposed to win. Which is that hopefully for them is enough to get them into the top 8. But I think they've really kind of recruited the right kind of guys that help live up to that kind of DNA that he's trying to build. Guys like Gutho and stuff are just having such a good year. There's a nice little dynamic that's working between Cookie and Little as well. Even though we'd like to probably see Little play a few more minutes, but that all seems to be working. But they're looking good. Good win by them on the weekend.
I thought DeBellin was absolutely outstanding this game. Him and Couchman. I thought Couchman was phenomenal again. DeBellin and Couchman for me, and even Clemmer. I thought their front row was really, really strong.
It was Clem's best game in a long time.
Yeah, agreed.
Outstanding.
Agreed. To be honest, I'm just so excited about Couchman. Like, you've got this young guy in the middle that's already putting up the numbers he's doing, already having the impact that he's having. And it's just like, that's the difference between this year and last year, is even if you do lose a game here or there, you've got this next generation that you can build a club around them. Yep. You can really build a side around them. You can slowly introduce, you can recruit around them if you need to. But like right now, when you look at the squad, and you go, a guy like Sully's going to be around for quite a while still. King Tonga, obviously super young. Then you've got guys like Hamish Stewart, Little going to be around for a while. Couchman. You got Loco, who scored that outstanding try. Nathan Lawson, he was brought across from Rugby Union. That's another really good example of good recruitment outside of the base. Like there's a lot of, and we're not even talking about the guys that are injured currently. But yeah, the front row for me was outstanding. It was really good. I mean, David Clemmer, I know he gets knocks for, is his play the ball the fastest? No, it's not the fastest. But can he bend the line and just get you that extra 2 to 3 metres each time he runs it? He can. And that's what he's purchased for. He's purchased for just to bend the line, get you down the park. 175 metres, 69 post contact, 33 tackles, 0 misses. I mean, you've got to be pretty happy with that. And then Toby Couchman, he had 15 runs, 164 metres, 75 post contact, 5 tackle breaks, 1 offload, 44 tackles, only 1 miss. That's a friggin' good knock from a young fella. If Payne Haas had those stats, you'd say, okay, are the metres a little bit down? Let's say Payne Haas had 180 metres 75 post contact, 5 tackle breaks, an offload and 44 tackles, only 1 miss. A lot of people would go, that's a solid game. Like, that's a solid game. Couchman's just gone out and done that, and no one's even talking about it. Like, obviously, other than us. Like, that's what's so exciting about this for the Dragons. Like, it seems like they're finally taking advantage of the fact that the Illawarra is one of the best bases for rugby league in the country.
Yeah, the best thing about Couchman is there's 2 of them. Like, there is just so much to build around there. And, like,
He's 21. So young.
Yeah, they both are. It's insane. Like, they're in such a good spot. Then you got Hullingar, who's in reserve grade. Like, mate, if they were to have 2 injuries to their front row this week, these are the guys that played reserve grade for the Dragons on the weekend. Emre Gula, Harm Saleh, Michael Molo, and Raymond Faitala-Mariner, and Ben Murdoch-Masilla. Like, there are 4 guys that you could confidently pick in reserve grade. 2 of them I could start in first grade and be confident with them. Like, they're in a very good spot.
So Hamish Stewart, he's 20.
Yep.
Then you've got
Egan's young.
Egan's young. He's like 20, 21.
Yep.
Mate, I mean, Flano, he's because it's been an up and down year. He's probably not going to get the raps he deserves, but the fact that he's doing this with such a young core, it's outstanding.
Yeah, and this Hullingar, who's an edge, he's going to make a big splash when he arrives.
Yeah,
he's
okay.
just absolutely dominated the juniors. He's got some ridiculous record where he's got man of the match in just about every big game he's played in, and he's a year young. Like, he's gone up and just dominated. So they're in a very, very good spot, the Dragons. And I mean, even if you have a look at, Cody Ramsey's playing fullback there in reserve grade, doing very well. Like, you could do so much worse if you had injuries and go, okay, Ilias has to come in the halves.
Yeah.
Well, they've shown they can win with Ilias.
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
win games. Like, they're sitting in a very, very nice spot at the moment.
Well, I asked Dragons fans this. When was the last time that you were this excited about young talent coming through and they played well in first grade? Because I think the last time you would say was Sloan, Sullivan, Amone. I think I'm missing one person, but Sloan, Sullivan, Amone, and they came into first grade. They didn't really hit the ground running. Like, they had moments here or there. Sloan was probably the best out of the lot in regards to playing in first grade. Whereas you've got guys coming into first grade in forward positions as 20-year-olds killing it. Like, it's a super. Like, that was my biggest issue with the Dragons for the past. Since Mary McGregor. I think when McGregor was there was energy, there was excitement. They had a lot of Origin players. But since then, I feel like they've been so conservative with the way they've approached things, the Dragons, that it just hasn't been. It's hard to get excited about them. I'm excited about the Dragons at the moment.
I think the other thing we need to remember as well, just because he's not playing minutes at the Sharks at the moment, like, Atkinson is a weapon.
Yeah.
Him arriving there next year is going to be enormous for them.
Yeah. And I loved, we speak about it most weeks about getting more minutes into Jacob Little, but I thought it was a great example of, like, why on the weekend, and it was the Clint Gutherson try. The lead into that, just the 1-2 punch, it was Little and Cook had back-to-back runs. They got that much ruck speed, that much momentum through it. It was the one where then DeBellin took the third one, and he went straight through, because I think it was Kai Pearce-Paul's offside, offloaded to Gutho, and they scored. Because they've got, when you add in, like, Blake Laurie, DeBellin, he's pretty mobile, but like Clemmer and that, some big bopping forwards. Not necessarily the most mobile. To have those two on the field at the same time, just going bang, bang off the back of each other, I'm going to get more of this. Like, it's so effective.
Absolutely. And they're only going to get better at it. They're only going to get better at that combination, understanding how to work off each other. I'll never forget the Harry Grant Cheese combination when the year they won the premiership. Was the year they won the premiership, or was it the year after? Year after. The year after, their combination, like, they would just come on the field and hunt together. Like, it would just be one after the other. And they would just... Oh, it was the year after when they broke the record for points scored, I think. 21?
Yeah, it was 21.
Yeah. And they broke the record in that year because they were just rolling through teams. And so, like, if you... Obviously, you're probably not going to get at that level with Cook Little. However, you can get a version of that in regards to the Dragons at the moment. I've got to give a shout-out, especially to his defence. Kyle Flanagan. Like, his defence was friggin' unbelievable. 30 tackles, 0 misses. And I just, as I spoke about earlier, I never understood the fact that a guy that was playing 6 all the way through reserve grade and was a rookie had the 7 on his back and Flanagan had the 6. I love the fact that they've just gone, you know what? This is Kyle Flanagan's side. We're going to live by the sword, die by the sword. Yes, it does add extra pressure to the Flanagan relationship. However, at the moment, it looks like it's paying dividends.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, it adds pressure. It's your team.
Yeah,
that's if you want to be a ball player in the NRL, that's what it is. That's it from the start to the finish. So it's taken a little bit longer than what I would have liked, but I think that Shane came out and said the other day that Kyle came and said, "I want the jersey," as he should, and it's good to see him take control because he is a guy that can be a good halfback.
And that's his role. Like, that's his type of footy he plays.
Yes.
He's conservative 7 that can get you through sets and get through his kicks.
That ball playing for the Sewer try, though, as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, even a Kyle Flanagan, like, I think he's 26. So there's plenty of time for him to continue to develop into a good, solid 7 that gets him around the park. I thought Sully had one of his better games this season. He's been a bit up and down this season, not as consistent as he usually is. I thought he was outstanding on the weekend.
He was great in this one.
He's been gets starved a little bit of ball. Same thing happened last year, but because they've become so left edge dominant with Val Holmes out there, and they just hit that, and Luciano, that the right edge doesn't see a lot. So again, he's not probably getting the tries and try assists that catches people's eyes, but. A little up and down defensively earlier on in the year, but incredible in this one.
Even in this game though, like he would have had a try assist. Sloan dropped it over the ball. He had a damn good game.
Yeah, he was outstanding. I've got to say, Val, what's actually exciting about this is Val played quite poorly with the errors that he had, and they still managed to put 20 points on. Whereas like early in the year, if Val isn't playing well, like they're just probably not scoring points, really. Him and Gutho, obviously Gutho's a big part of it. I like the fact that Val had that many errors, but they were still able to score points without him having to set the world alight.
It's a good point, isn't it? Like all 12 of their errors came from the back line. No one else.
Wow.
Sorry, all 13. Lawson had one too. No one else made an error the entire game outside of the back line.
We see you've got 4 from Holmes and then 3 from Sloan. That's 7 right there. 7 errors right there.
7 of your 13. That's more than 50%. Yeah.
And you would make the argument that Sloan and Holmes are their attacking weapons on the edge, and they still managed to score the points that they scored.
And one of those errors was literally dropping 4 points. Yeah.
But yeah, so just really, really good stuff from the Dragons. I thought this was just a really controlled professional game. We spoke about it earlier. DeBellin was really good. Just some of his defence, he's always been known for that low. He's a really good low tackler. And some of his defence, I think he forced an error early in the game, was really good. It's going to be interesting to see, a bit like they were talking about Sewer before the game, potentially, pushing for that edge back row. Unfortunately, only played 23 minutes. Was it injured? Was it soft tissue or syndesmosis?
Not sure.
We'll have to check the tape. Who stood out for you, man?
I think you guys have covered off on most of them. Thought Sully was really good as well. You're right, being a little bit up and down, but certainly looked kind of back to his best on the weekend. I think Gutho, again, another solid game out of him, but mate, they were just good, did what they need to do.
Lawson looked good as well.
I like what I saw from Lawson. I was about to say, I think, if he's your 4th choice left winger, you're in a pretty damn good spot.
Well, I think they upgraded him to top 30 the day after the game.
Unreal.
So they like what they saw.
Well, the good thing is it's just more pressure on Sloan. Sloan can't afford to have the game like he had on the weekend, which was, 11 runs, 95 metres, and 3 errors. Whereas Lawson was
7
much
tackle
better.
breaks for Lawson.
Yeah, 7 tackle breaks,
180 metres.
17 runs, 180 metres, 49 post contact at line break. The good thing is that all of a sudden, again, there's pressure for spots. That was the biggest problem, last year. So really, really good, solid win for the Dragons. As I said, there are going to be people who say, "Oh, come on, mate, settle down. It's the Knights." I get it. I get it's the Knights, but at the same time, the Dragons they're not world beaters yet, are they? They're in the depths of a rebuild. If your team is currently sitting 8th to 10th, would you be happy with them controlling a game against a bottom 4 side and winning, comfortably? Yes, you would be. So I think it was a really good professional win. I love what's happening at the Dragons, and I can't wait to see what they're going to look like in 2 or 3 years' time. That's what's going to excite me the most.
So sorry on Lawson. He'd signed a development contract, and there was a clause in his contract that if he made his NRL debut, it triggers an extension. So till 2026.
How good?
There you go.
How good. Now on to the Knights. Wow. Adam O'Brien complaining about the schedule. I don't understand. I get, in principle, I understand what he's saying. Yes, it's a short turnaround. I get all that. But when it's been like this for weeks and weeks and weeks, it's just it's a strange thing to even bring up. Post-match, they are in a world of hurt right now. They are in a world of hurt. It's a nice side. I really don't know where they go from here. The problem is that what direction do they head in? Fletcher Sharp, he ended up playing fullback. It went all right. He still ran for his big meters, but I still don't know what their best 17 is. And we're 3 years into their build right now.
Yeah, and you're going to have, Adam Elliott now out for 12 weeks, Leo Thompson out for 4 to 5 weeks. I don't know if Jacob Saifiti's due back next week, but Tyson Brazel's the only front rower in the building, and he's not a front rower.
Not a front rower.
So it becomes, there's young guys that have been playing Cup over the last few weeks that they can bring in, but for a team that lacks punch through the middle already, it's going to be brutal.
Well, and I think Gamble, who was fantastic last week against Penrith, he broke his thumb reportedly as well. So it'll be sharp back, depending how long this potentially keeps him out, but. Ponga comes back at fullback for 1 week before probable origin again, and then Sharp back to the halves, and then Sharp will be with probably Cogger again.
Mate, it is a nightmare. It is an absolute nightmare. And I will say, I know the Knight fans going to be like, mate, we're missing all these players. I get that. But even with missing all those players, they still completed at 70%. If you're going to be a conservative, gritty side that struggles to score points, you at least want to be completing at a higher rate than that. And that suggests to me that this playing group is they're just not happy off the field. There's a lot more going on behind the scenes than we probably know about right now. Because the Knights, yes, they're missing key players, but you'd have to say, these two teams up against each other on paper, the Knights should be giving them a fair crack. It should be but there got to a point in the game where I really just didn't think that the Dragons had anything to worry about. I really felt like they just constricted and got the job done. Quite they didn't score until the 69th minute.
Yeah, and it was a prop tipping onto a back rower.
Yeah, what?
That's happened a few times this year where they've put a try on the board, but it's in absolute junk time.
Yeah,
it's last 10 minutes of the game.
Yeah,
doesn't matter anymore.
It was very clear last week that win over Penrith against a depleted outfit with all their origin players out plus injuries sort of was going to go one of two ways. Potentially a bit of complacency going into this week, going, we knocked off Penrith, we're back, we found our spark. The complacency side, I think, probably came out, but that was just papering over a lot of cracks, that win last week. But I was sort of hoping that, all right, they'll be realistic that they beat a depleted Penrith team, but that it'll find them a bit of spark in attack and coming back.
Yep.
One thing I will give them, their defence is pretty bloody good. From all that's going on.
It's always been pretty good, yeah.
Mate, they're conceding 19 points per game. They've got the third best defence statistically in the NRL. Even in this, I think they conceded 4 line breaks or something. Nothing too bad. So the defensive systems are there, and the fact that they're being, dominated in the middle so much and not gaining any momentum and still having the third best defence in the NRL, that's something to take, and that's big. And if they can get their attack somewhat in order, you can turn things around, but the attack is just so far from clicking where it needs to be. I just don't know how they do it.
Yeah. And look at this starting side. 8, your front row Frizzell, Phoenix Crossland, he's your starting number 9. Leo Thompson, Dylan Lucas, Kai Pierce-Paul, Matt Croker. That's still a good forward pack. I know they're missing players, but that's a good forward pack. So I don't fully buy we've got all these injuries, especially even at full strength they've struggled at times. Unfortunately, I think the pressure is just mounting on Adam O'Brien. I really do. Yeah. It is getting to the point where Newcastle will have to make a decision of, do we give him the full year with Dylan Brown arriving at the club? The problem is apparently he's got a $2 million payout or some shit like that.
It's been a tough spot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What do you... I'll tell you what will be interesting. So Tyson Gamble's got a broken thumb reportedly. Mate, round 15, KP goes to Origin. You assume they move Fletcher Sharp back to the halves. I wonder who back to fullback. Do they pick Hastings then, or do they make it? Do they bring another debutant in?
I don't think they're picking Hastings.
I think no matter what, I don't think no matter what, they will not pick him.
And home game at Newcastle that week. The next 2 weeks are both home games for him against Manly and the Roosters. It could get ugly very quickly.
I mean, I will say one thing in AOB's defence. It's he's the face of it. He's going to cop the flack. They've got an entire coaching staff and attacking. It's how between all these footy minds on the staff can they not get this attack with Sharp there, Ponga obviously not available on the weekend, not get it clicking a little bit more. He's not the only one.
Yeah. I mean, but the problem is even for example, let's say the Hastings situation, they still chose to recruit him. They still chose to recruit him. So that's still their decision, even if they're choosing not to play him. The coaching staff, for example, they still chose to have that coach. It's Adam O'Brien that chooses the staff around him. I just far out.
Even just some of the other choices, like I think it was pretty evident that he was a good player last year, but that David Armstrong last year, like mate, every week I see a new highlight from him in the Super League carving it up, and I get it's the Super League, I'm well aware, but just some of the decisions I just struggle with.
Look at Kai Pearce-Paul.
Miller was awesome for him too.
Lockie Miller. But look at Kai Pearce-Paul. Came across with all this promise, great attitude, big, rangy back rower, and like he just hasn't kicked on.
Mate, they played him on the wrong side of the field for the first 12 months.
And it's just like, if a guy with that much natural talent, and also it's not like he's got no ticker, like he works his backside off Kai Pearce-Paul. And then it was like, what was it? At the end of last year, we were hearing whispers that they're going to try to move him on. It's just like, so a team that's struggling for attack has a big, rangy back rower that could probably become one of the better offloading back rowers in the comp. You want to move him on? Like, what?
Well, it sounds like they are moving him on. I think he's leaving.
Like, what?
It's
Surely you look at him and go, okay, we've got Dylan Lucas gun on the other side, Kai Pearce-Paul. Let's just give him a free rein, let him offload, let him play his game. But
create something.
Something.
And like full credit to them for what they've done with Dill Lucas, but can you imagine if they didn't find him, where this side would be?
Mate, I just don't know. I don't know what's going on. So, look, me personally, I just think it's the pressure is just mounting drastically on Adam O'Brien. Look, some positives. Dane Gagai worked his absolute backside off in attack, ran for 200 plus metres, 51 post contact, 8 tackle breaks. But outside of that, it just looks like a very unhappy roster. I don't know. Yeah, they need a complete overhaul in their attack, a complete overhaul. Because as you said, the defense is actually pretty good, and that's a positive for the Knights. Is like, it's harder to fix defense than it is to fix attack. It's just a matter of doing that, though. It's a matter of doing it. That's what they need to do.
$4.50 for the spoon.
Wow,
is that a bet? Titans
Mate,
are the favourites. They're $2.40, but I don't know. It feels like the other Knights are in the conversation.
Okay, on to the next game. Melbourne Storm defeat the Gold Coast 28-16. This is brought to you by Crowd Property Capital. They are offering any Bloke Club member $500 cash back for settled loan amounts between $450K and $750K. Reach out to Andrew and the team via the Bloke Club. That's Crowd Property Capital. Massive thank you to Crowd Property Capital for coming on to the Bloke Club. And as I said, they are offering any Bloke Club member $500 cash back for settled loan amounts between $450K and $750K. Massive thank you to Crowd Property Capital. Head to the Bloke Club. Check out Crowd Property Capital on the Bloke Club. Alrighty. Now, and I'll reach out to Andrew as well and the team via the Bloke Club. Okay, the Melbourne Storm defeat the Titans 28-16. Going to sound a little bit weird when I say this, but where the Storm are trying to head and where the Titans are at right now, I almost feel like the Titans take more out of this game than the Storm do, because the Storm at the moment, I'm getting more and more worried about their premiership credentials. They do not look like a ruthless killer side that they opened the season with. And the Titans were up to their eyeballs in this. And I've got to say, that video ref call, there were multiple calls actually, it was a 12-point turnaround. The video ref call for Verrills' no try was absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't know how you couldn't give that when Nelson Asafa-Solomona, all he needed to do was just get on one knee in front of the try line and he would have stopped that try. They turn around. It's a 12-point turnaround. I think the Gold Coast Titans should feel pretty dudded by those calls. Granted, were the Storm the better side? Yep, they probably still would have won, but I thought those calls were really poor. I think the Titans can take a lot more from this. And as I said, I'm getting a little bit worried about this Melbourne Storm's ability to leak points if they consider themselves a premiership threat at the moment.
Just they made some strange decisions throughout this game, the Melbourne Storm, didn't they? Like just some of the options. I thought Ryan Pappenhausen in particular, mate, some of the decisions he made, some of the options he took, blew me away.
I just feel like they're so attack focused these days instead of grind focused that they just It
was twice in this game they had turnovers and blokes just went to a chip over the top or something, which another little pet peeve I want to have. If you have a turnover and you decide to kick the fucking ball, I think that's your advantage taken.
Yeah, because you've tried
hate
something.
That rule.
Yeah,
I think they let it play way too long as well.
It's ridiculous. They should either. I'm not sure if the Super League still do it. I know they used to do it, but the Super League has a rule when there's a turnover, you've got one play, do whatever you want. I think we either go to that, or if you get the ball and you kick it, That's your advantage taken.
Because you're taking the
You're
opportunity.
taking the advantage.
Yeah.
You've got a quick turnover.
You shouldn't get a free shot on them. Like, it shouldn't just be like
that either
free shot.
should be the rule,
Yeah.
or if you decide to kick, like we spoke about it last week, I think it was Luca Moretti for the Eels, got the ball, ran 5 metres, put in a shit kick and got rewarded for it for getting the ball back.
Like, there's times where they look to counter on an error and it'll go through 4 sets of hands and go 30 metres across the field, then come back, and then they make an error and it's like not advantage taken. It's like, how?
Yeah. I'm with you. I just, and we spoke about this last week as well, where I was like, this team, attacking wise, for 20 minutes, could honestly put points on any team that's ever existed. But they don't play 80 minutes and they're not willing to get into the grind, the Melbourne style. And I'm sorry to be negative. I guess Storm fans are sitting there going, mate, we won 28-16, but I'd love to hear Storm's thoughts. Like, am I wrong? Are you convinced by that victory? Do you feel the Storm are at where a premiership heavyweight should be at this point in the year? I don't. I feel like that they haven't made the progress that you would have hoped after being in a grand final last year. Do they look like a better side than they were last year? I'm not sure.
I don't think they look like they're a better side than last year. I think the Melbourne Storm are a little bit lucky that the rest of the comp is seemingly just evened out a lot. Like, I keep thinking, the Melbourne Storm, they're the team on grand final day, who's going to beat them? But if they're playing the way they are, maybe it is a Raiders or a Canterbury or one of these sides that can do it. Without making this a Canterbury Bulldogs chat, but I think part of the look around for me in this whole Galvin situation is that there isn't really a team that's grabbing this competition. And I think the conversation is constantly, well, the Bulldogs just disrupted the apple cart. Like, I wonder if the Bulldogs have seen an opportunity and gone, this could actually make us the team here, because no one's grabbing it at the moment.
Well, I looked at it and I go, the Warriors and the Raiders are starting to get on Storm's level for me, where I've got more faith in the Warriors and Raiders to grind out a game than the Storm do. I still have Storm ahead of them, but I'm getting less and less confident in that. I'm just getting a little bit worried. What do you reckon, Timmy?
Yeah, I don't look at this game and have really any concerns for their premiership credentials. I think it's in the origin period. Like, Harry Grant wasn't there, Xavier Coates wasn't there, Loiero came off the bench, Munster's backing up from 80 minutes in origin.
I'm not looking just at this game, though. I'm looking at their last month of...
Yeah, I just think they're sitting top 4. This is a game that they were probably pretty confident they'd win well. The weather was atrocious and they still managed to score 5 tries and put them on pretty well. I think that their edge defence remains a big concern. Like, even Jack Howarth came back into this side on the weekend. I think with more time and a few more games under his belt post-injury, he'll shore things up a little bit. But defensively, he was pretty poor in this as well, among a few of them. Their edge defence hasn't come on as quickly as I thought it would have, but I do think Craig Bellamy will, by the end of the season, get them back to where they need to be defensively. So, I mean, I still think they're the number one premiership threat. I think they could drop the odd game here or there through the origin period because they've got so many players on, origin duty. I think that'd be fine.
Just to this is my point. So this is their last month or so of footy. They lost 42-22 to the Dolphins. Then they came out and just beat a decimated Rabbitohs side, 24-16 at home. Then the next week they come out and they lose to the Raiders at home.
No, Magic Round.
Magic Round, apologies, yep. Then the next week, they all of a sudden come out, they win 64-0. And then the next week they come out and they lose to the Sharks. And then they just beat the Titans. Like, that is like this, a roller coaster. Like, there is no consistency. And like, over their last... Have they lost more than they've won? I think they've lost more than they've won in their last 4 to 5 weeks. I think they might be like...
one argument would be that Harry Grant missed a lot of time over that.
But just one player. Like,
yeah, but
there's so many...
The best hooker in the world.
But there's so many teams that are missing players. Like, who's full strength right now? Like, I don't think anyone's full strength.
I'm just saying that run you've just read out, that's without their
They lost
captain.
to the Dolphins, Sharks, and also...
Raiders.
The Raiders.
They're 3 from their last 6.
3 from 6.
Yep.
So it's basically even, 3-3.
Yep.
I think Harry Grant has that big an impact on this team, yes.
I don't... Me personally, the Storm that I know, losing just one player and you've still got a spine of Munster, Hughes, Pappy, I think they still should be beaten most of those sides. They should have a positive record.
But Harry Grant's that good. Like, Grant missed Dolphins, Rabbitohs, Raiders, Tigers, all 4 of those games. And then he made his first game back from injury against the Sharks too. Sharks are good.
Okay, I'll ask this then. Out of all those teams, how many of them were full strength? How many of them were full strength?
Well,
Dolphins weren't?
They're not losing the best hooker in the world.
But Storm should be able to handle losing the best hooker in the world. They're the Storm.
I think that's also part of Tim's point, which I agree with him. Like, it is insane how important Harry Grant is to this side. Like, they look completely different without him.
I can even Jerome Hughes, like, his form's been okay of late, but when Harry Grant's out and they don't have that creativity and that speed and around the ruck, Harry Grant goes and Munster and Hughes in particular, just takes off next to him, and that's where everything Hughes does comes off the back of Harry Grant. Like,
Didn't they beat the Tigers 64-0 without Harry Grant?
Yeah,
Tigers.
the Tigers had blame the schedule. We had 3 games in 13 days.
There you go.
And, we had to play the Storm off a loss. But the Storm, look, the games that they did lose, the Raiders are a top 4 team. They lost to them in Magic Round. And the Sharks, they're knocking on the door of the top 4 as well. So they're good opposition. And then,
But you've lost to both top 4 sides in the last month.
But if they had Harry Grant, they probably do.
But again, those top 4 sides, were they full strength?
Sharks, yes, weren't affected by
Raiders were too.
Full strength? Weren't the Sharkies missing either Papali'i or Horsburgh? Sorry, the Raiders?
Raiders might have been missing Horsburgh.
Anyway, me personally, I think the Storm the last 6 weeks have not helped their premiership credentials.
Yeah, without a doubt, but yeah, I think that, and I agree with you. I don't think Harry Grant being out should impact a team this much when you've got a spine of Pappy, Munster, Hughes. Like, there's teams in the comp that would trade everything to have those 3. But I do think it is the reality that they look like a completely different side when Harry Grant's not on the field. If anything, he has too much impact on them.
Let us know what you think, guys. Storm fans, are you a bit worried? Are you not worried? Let us know in the comment section. Do you think that they've got something to worry about heading into the final part of the season, or it's just purely once Harry Grant's back, you're good to go? But in regards to this game, thoughts on the no try call with Verrills?
Yeah, crap.
And then the offside one as well. I felt like my eyes going in different directions. That Campereri is clearly onside. Am I crazy? Did you think he was offside?
No, I thought it was some weird ones as well.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Like,
I thought so.
what?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Stiff.
Like, crazy. Like, what are we... just bizarre. Anyway, okay, we'll talk about Melbourne Storm first. I thought Howarth... I know it was his first game back? It was his first game back.
Yeah.
Man, I thought Jojo Fafita did a number on him. And the problem is Howarth has been relatively good in defence for them. But I thought that's hopefully it's just rust that got Howarth. But yeah, as I said, I thought Jojo Fafita was outstanding. In regards to good performances with the team, I thought Katoa once again. It just shows you how good this Melbourne Storm system is. The fact that Katoa is, you can make the argument Katoa has been their most consistent player for 2 years in a row now.
He's unbelievable.
It's hard to push back on.
Yeah. Who stood out for you on the Storm side?
I'll tell you, I think Grant Anderson is genuinely one of the more impressive things I've seen Melbourne do in the last half decade. Mate, watching his first 5 games of first grade, I'm egg all over my face. I didn't think he'd make it to 10 first grade games. He struggled so much when he came in, and it was a moment there I was watching him going, geez, what it's Craig Bellamy's just, I just cannot see this in any way, shape or form. He's apparently going to Brisbane.
Yeah, it's been talked about for a while.
One.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm now looking at that going, geez, if they lose him, that's big. That's a big loss for Melbourne, because he is, whether he's playing centre, wing, whatever it is, not only is he playing well, he's like, and I know in this game his tries weren't anything unbelievable or anything, but like, man, he's given some very quality players baths throughout this year.
Yeah, like he's not just coming in and doing a job. He's impacting games.
Like he's like at full strength. Does he miss the side?
I think Farlongo will drop out, and you sit there and go, the brilliant things he does with ball in hand. But we just mentioned like the vulnerability that the Storm have this season, and to be fair, it was similar last year, is the edge defence. I think Bellamy will go, obviously Coates will come back in, Warbrick will come back in, and he'll just go, no, we need to pick the best defensive outside backs we can, because points shouldn't be an issue in this team. We'll go the best defenders, and I don't think Farlongo's in that.
I am one of the biggest Sewer fans, as you all know. There's no way I could leave Grant Anderson out of this side for far longer.
No, just in the vein I was thinking before, I think they need to start thinking defence.
Yeah.
Like, I think that should be their number one priority right now, because scoring points, they can do that. Like the back of they know that like back of their hand. They can do that at any point. It's just their defence. They're like so much leakier than I know Storm fans to be, Storm teams to be.
Well, your wingers would be Coates and Warbrick, and then it'll be between Anderson, Meaney, Howarth for the centre spot. So probably Howarth one, if he gets that defence sorted, which I'm sure he will, and then one of the other two. So
I think Meaney is a favourite. Is a favourite. I think Grant Anderson, you'll probably find him 18th man quite a bit.
Meaney is a favourite, but defensively he hasn't been overly sound for ever.
And you got Pappy to goal kick still? Is Pappy goal kick still?
Goal kicking still. So that's a good problem to have for Melanie, but
I just think they need to focus on their defence quite a bit. In regards to other people playing well, boys, who else stood out for you?
Just before we move off that, if you're the Broncos, how much would you pay Grant Anderson right now?
Well, that's the thing. They keep talking about the Broncos having no money. So it's like, well, why would he leave minimum from the Storm to be on minimum at the Broncos? Because if you've got no money, why are you paying Grant Anderson $400,000-500,000?
Like, I think that's what you'd have to pay him, right?
Yeah, why would he leave? He could win a premiership at the Storm.
You'd have to think it's either, if they're getting Anderson, that almost has to be Selwyn leaving, right? Like, surely they can't do both. Like, surely that's what it has to be hinging on.
You know what I don't get with that? Like, why? Like, I don't understand the Broncos where you've got to get someone on minimum wage on the wing there because your cap is so out of whack. You can't afford to get him. Like, you can't afford to be paying Dean Mariner above minimum, Grant Anderson above minimum, Staggs gets re-signed, Jesse Arthur's above minimum. Like, so I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe, I don't know. But what would you think you'd have to?
Yeah, I think if he goes to market, like surely Brisbane aren't the only team that's throwing their hat in the ring too. Like, there'd be competition for him. So I think 4 5s is probably about on the mark.
If you get him for $400,000, I'd win.
I wouldn't be spending over 400. I would say somewhere between 3 and 4.
Yeah.
He's shown he can play centre and wing. Like, there's value in that as well.
I'd go anywhere between 3-4. Yeah, I reckon that's about right.
He's also, I'm with you. I've been so impressed with him. He's doing it in a red hot Melbourne outfit. Like, if he goes to any other club, you sit there, and if he does regress at any other club on $500,000, you sit there, what have he done? So I think 3 to 4.
Yeah, fair.
Max. Yeah.
I mean, Granderson really did stand out. I'm trying to look at some other people. Katoa, we've already spoken about. But yeah, look, I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see over the next few weeks. The Titans.
Just on Melbourne too, we always spoken about the importance of Harry Grant and how different they look with him. Geez, I thought that they lacked direction when Trent Leary wasn't on. I thought they looked very different when he was on the field.
As in, they were worse off when he was on the field?
No. I'm saying they were much better when he was on the field.
He's a really important part.
That first 20 minutes, they just lacked a lot of direction, which once again, when you've got Munster, Hughes, Pappy...
You know, it's weird. I think we have the same point. We're just on the different sides of it.
100%. We're all on the same point. We're just looking at it from different angles.
Yeah, I'm looking at like, that's not good enough. You guys are looking like, once Grant comes back in, it'll be...
I'm saying they're too reliant on Harry Grant, considering the other players. Like, we're all saying the same thing, just different ways.
As I said, like, it's bizarre. They used to be the side that they'd chuck anywhere and anywhere, and they'd just be sweet. And maybe I'm judging them too harshly of their dominance for 20 years. But anyway, okay, on to the Titans. Look, yes, they lost some super, super tough calls, but I do actually think they can build a lot from this game. I do think there's a lot they can take away. They were in it up to their eyeballs. They were tough. They were gritty for most of it. So, yes, a loss, but at least it wasn't an absolute disaster.
I kind of thought the Titans, and going into it, I understand the thought process that I think they tried to move the football around a lot. I think they made 16 errors moving the football and whatnot. Like, I'm not sure if they needed to move it that much in this game. I thought they were well and truly in it. I thought they just sort of, like, I think it was 16 errors to 5 or something like that. Like, I thought there was different points in this game where I thought they were really putting it on Melbourne. They just turned over too much footy.
That's what I mean. Like, you just wonder, this Titans team completes at like 80%. Do they win the game?
I reckon there's every chance they do win this game if they would have done that.
Because they completed.
If you're going to have 16 errors.
66%.
Jeez.
And I understand you got to move the football to score points and whatnot, but like, they were competing in this game, and I think they needed to. Like, I understand going into it, they were like, "Fuck, okay, we've got to chance our arm to have a chance, sure." But I think by the time they got into it, like when they scored the first try, like, I thought they were pretty dominant for the first 20 minutes or so.
That's why I like. The Storm got away with this one. Like, I was really disappointed with the Storm. I really didn't think they played that well. It's just the Titans kind of missed an opportunity, in my opinion. What do you reckon about the Titans, mate?
Yeah, I think they got a little bit hard done by, stitched up a couple of times by the video ref. They kind of hung in there and were within striking distance of a bit of an upset. I thought, I think last couple of, probably even the last month of football from a couple of their outside backs, Jojo Fafita and Phil Sami, I think have been pretty good.
I've always been a big fan of Jojo Fafita.
So good.
He's so good.
Yeah, he was
Quick
great
too.
opposite Howarth. And Phil Sami, obviously a couple of tries, but his last month as well has been pretty handy.
I mean, you could have always, like, the Toyo, don't get me wrong, it ended up being correct, but, like, if you had gone home Sammy, I would have been kind of okay with that.
He played in the worst side ever, and did a really good job. So, could do a lot worse than picking him at some stage through the series. But, I thought those guys were really good. Bit of a rejig. Obviously, Tom Weaver came back in as well, so ping-ponged Jaden Campbell back to fullback. Played very well there.
I was about to say, I don't want to bring it up, but you're right. He played so friggin' well.
Yeah, which is just, creates more headaches for him probably. But
they look so much better when Foran's on the field.
Foran changes everything.
He really does. Like, look, I get where Desi's trying to head with this, but, mate, Foran's got to be on the field for him. He's just got to. And I know he's been injured, but I'm saying, like, when he's there, he's got to start, surely.
And, I don't think anyone would push back on you on that, but if he's not going to be there next year, they're last. Like, they've got to start to sort of prepare for the future, I guess. Like, if they don't waste the back half of this season, or they're just going to waste the start of next season trying to work out this half's combination. They're in a really tough spot, and, I just think every time you let Jaden Campbell play fullback, if I'm Perth, you're just sitting there going, fuck, blank check stuff, like, just come.
And they've just signed Kinney till 2030. Look, a massive congratulations to Kinney. Like, he is so good. But that's so Titans. Like, why do you need to sign him to 2030? Like, what?
Let's get him back on the field first.
Yeah, let's just get him on the field. Maybe give him a 2-year deal, 3-year deal. I couldn't believe what I've seen. And, like, as I said, stoked for Kinney. Like, mate, the guy's a gun. He's probably going to kill it. But, like, why such a long-term deal?
Yeah, well, now they've got 2 or 3 guys who their best position is probably fullback on quite long deals.
Yep. So you've got Brimson till 27, I think, 28.
Like yeah.
You got Campbell till like probably 27, 28. I tell you what, if Campbell is off 26 or whatever, if I'm the Perth, I'm throwing, honestly, I'd throw 800K at him at fullback.
For Campbell?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'd throw more than that. Like, you're going to have to spend more to get him there, I'd say.
I mean, you'd probably get to 900.
If you sign Jaden Campbell for $1 million, is it, like, does it fuck up your cap that much realistically?
Knowing how good he can be too, like, if you put him in a Melbourne Storm side or whatever, he would be absolutely tearing teams apart.
Like, I think in hindsight it changes, but at the time, I think that would have been the Dolphins' best signing.
It's fair.
Do we know what he wants to play? Does he have a preference, half or fullback?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Surely there's not that much difference. Like, fullback, you do whatever you want, really.
Interesting, Jaden Campbell looks like he's on this year and next year, 2027. Maybe this is when Perth and stuff are coming in. Maybe they will have a crack at him.
Okay. I mean, if I was, great call, Roo.
Surely, and I mean this with all due respect, but surely Jaden Campbell prefers to play fullback than halfback.
Yeah, I mean,
surely he prefers that than getting spotted up 30 times and making 30 tackles a game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, even just to another layer, like, I think Keeney's a gun. I think he's going to be fantastic. But, 12 months ago, we were sitting here saying, oh, well, he's the one that doesn't get injured.
Yeah. True.
Fuck. Even now you've got concerns about him, and I don't know what it means, long term and whatnot, but it's a lot of guys to sign up long term that there's a lot of concerns around.
Well, there's one thing I'm like, and we sort of touched on it before the season, even before Kinney was injured, but you can see why they have, it seems like too much depth in these key positions, and people obviously want to stay, so that's a credit to them in the first place, because of the injury history of Foran, of Brimson. Now Kinney's down as well. Like, even Jaden Campbell, he's had a bit of a tumultuous run at times. You can see why they want the extra player there for an option. And on the very odd occasion they're all fit, someone gets squeezed to centre or bench or something, but God, that's rare.
Yeah. I will say, what else is rare as well, very rarely does a 7 get 2 try assists and a try against the Melbourne Storm. That is special. That is super special. Thought Jojo Field was good. Outside of that, Bo Fulmer, I thought he worked his ass off. Tino, I mean, once again, works his absolute ring off for that club.
Oh, my God. 71 minutes backing up from Origin.
Honestly.
Like, I know Tino wants to do it in that, but if you're sitting around there and you're the forward pack around Tino, who just played, what sort of minutes? He played 53 minutes in Origin, backs up 3 days later and plays 71. Can't someone help this bloke out?
Oh,
Just
mate.
on that note, and forgive me if it was HIA impacted or whatnot, but if I'm Tino backing up from Origin, they used 2 interchanges in the first half on Regan Campbell-Gillard.
Really?
Yep, he came back on just before half time.
Had to be HIA, surely.
I hope so, because if it's not, and I'm Tino looking around the room just going, what on earth?
I've got to say, some of Desi's decisions, they baffle me these days. They do baffle me. Anyway, look, I know we've been sounding a bit negative, but I actually think this is one of their better performances this year.
Isaac
really do.
Malawi played 3 minutes off the bench. Jacob Alick, he played 5 minutes off the bench. Even Cleese Haas, 22. Tino had to play 71 backing up from Origin.
Regan came off in the 20th minute, just a normal interchange, and he went back on in the 32nd for Jermaine Joel, if that was interchange number 2. So they gave, instead of giving Tino a 12-minute spell in the first half, they gave it to Regan Campbell-Gillard.
Like, I know Tino is literally the definition of a warrior, but surely there is some kind of, let's think about his long-term viability.
Which seemingly they've done all year. There's been games where they've used 4 interchanges on him. 4 days after Origin, you go, we'll give Regan Campbell-Gillard a 12-minute spell before putting him back on.
I don't, with the Tino one, just use normal interchanges with him. I don't, let's just get some normalcy in the way he's playing. Bring him off 10 minutes before half time, put him back on 10 minutes after if you have to.
Play 60.
Let's just 60 minutes. Anyway, it is what it is. But yeah, it was better signs. And yes, did they get robbed some absolutely crucial calls? They absolutely did. So hopefully they can build off that. Alrighty, the Cowboys defeat the West Tigers. Don't forget the Wellness Warriors this Saturday. I'll be there. Registration starts from 8:45. It's going to be a bloody great day, guys. It's this Saturday. I will be there. This is how much it means to me. I'm having my second child on Friday. I'm flying on Saturday to go down to Wellness Warriors. So make sure to be there. Professional sportsman panel from 11 to 11:30. We've got Michael Thwaite, Socceroo, Christian Reese, A-League, and we've got Mike Handley, an Afghanistan veteran as well. And I'll be there. Benny Hanna will be there. It'll be a great day. So get down on Saturday on the Gold Coast, Coplick Family Park. Okay, North Queensland Cowboys defeat the Tigers 32-28. This was exactly what I thought it was going to be. It was going to be, a half of the Cowboys looking like they're going to win the premiership, and then it was a half of the Tigers clicking into gear. I will say you could make the argument the Tigers take more out of this than the Cowboys do. And why do I say that? It's because the Tigers can lean on the fact that, listen, if we just were a little bit more disciplined, I don't necessarily agree with Benji in regards to the harsh 10 in the bin. I actually like when refs are willing to, mate, if you give 3 penalties in a row, you're gone, as long as they're consistent. You could argue the Dewey one was a little bit harsh, but I think the Tigers can go, listen, if we just fucking sort our discipline out, we would have been in this game, maybe even won it. Cowboys, on the other hand, look, this is the Cowboys. They will be inconsistent, but hopefully they can just find form around finals time. I'll go to you first, Hammy.
Yeah, look, it did really feel like, I've said this to a few people, a 2024 Tigers performance in that first half particularly. Just the 2 sin bins, very costly. So, while those 2 guys were off the field, 5 of the Cowboys' 6 tries were scored. And there's one team, I reckon, just about in the whole comp you don't want to go a man down to. It's the Cowboys, because they ping it around so much and they're so good with the ball in their hands. So the game was basically one and done for the Cowboys then, but they did show some really good ticker, I thought, in the second half, the Tigers. Stafford Toll I thought was outstanding. I thought Heath Mason settled in really well as well, at number 6, which is his preferred position. He hasn't got a chance to play that in first grade before, but look, there was a chance at the end there to win it. I thought we probably come up with the wrong play on the last thing there as well. The short chip kick was a little bit of an anti-climax, but look, there are some green shoots to take out of it, but it was very disappointing that first half, and that's basically where the game was lost.
This Stafford Tower game is becoming like an annual event in this game.
Oh, mate.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
He's done 2 this year, though. Usually it's just 1 a year. He's had 2.
But against the Cowboys, I feel like he just...
Yeah.
He kills it every time.
So fast, too.
Val Holmes, one of the great
Had
bars.
14 tackle breaks.
Yeah, a couple of years ago at Leichhardt. But yeah, he must just pencil this one in and go, all right, Cowboys, better be on for it. But he was...
To be fair, he has been good this season.
He's been great.
Heaps more consistent.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's really been kind of tracking up. Like, in previous years, you'd have one game up here, one game down there. There's only been a couple where he's been a little bit off the mark, but I thought he was excellent, a real handful right through the game.
But yeah, I agree with you. I think the Tigers can take a lot out of this. 2 sin-bins in the first half. Going up, against the Cowboys up there. To only lose by 4 points. Fuck, they did well to get themselves in. There's just a lot of these moments with the Tigers where I'm finding the silver linings for it that I am. Yeah, it is a little bit concerning.
Yeah, the discipline kills them.
The way I see that, like, as you boys said, you could take whatever you want to find out of this game, whether it's negatives from both teams, positive, whatever you want. And naturally, like, my head goes to, all right, 5 of the 6 tries from the Cowboys were when the Tigers had players in the bin. Like, that says it all. But it was just, Hammy, the nature of the tries the Cowboys scored when they were off. Like, they just looked so disjointed defensively. Like, they were going through the biggest gaps. Like, they just did it so easy.
Yeah.
There was no ticker from the Tigers when those players were off. And to be fair, they showed it in the second half, absolutely. But when the players were in the bin, the Cows were just waltzing through so easy.
Yeah, and there was some kind of dumb plays as well. There was the one that we conceded in the 39th minute, the Scott Drinkwater one. I thought just get to the end of the set, kick it down to a corner. They try to do some expansive thing, knock on, scrum. Drinkwater just basically takes it off the scrum and goes 70 metres and scores. They go, would it have been that hard to just put it away for? We didn't need to score points at that point. Do you know what I mean? That's just like, get to half time, have a breather, then you get another 5 minutes with a bloke in the bin, but don't give them a sniff to score another one. And they did it straight away. So there's a few things like that I'm sure, Ben, you'll be pretty annoyed about.
Because you would have gone into half time essentially 12-0. 12-0?
12-6.
12-6.
Yep.
So you're walking out of that going, fuck.
Exactly, we're in it.
Yeah. Not to derail talking about Tigers, but I got to speak about it. Is Scott Drinkwater the most underrated attacking player of like this generation? This guy up north, like, and look, I'm being hyperbolic here, but I'm just to drive the point home. Like, his attack is some of the best attack in the competition right now, and doesn't get talked about enough. I reckon if you went over his last 4 or 5 years, he's probably got the most try assists of any player probably in the comp.
Yeah, I think he would over the last 2 or 3 years.
But he never gets spoken about. Like even for around Origin, like he kind of missed his. There was a period there where I really did have him in there. I understand, I get it. The whole argument is defense. I get it, but like a player that is that good in attack never gets brought up in some of the best fullbacks in the competition. I just don't think it gets a.
Sorry, mate. I also say the numbers on the tries in recent years. So 12 this year already. And then in previous years, 26 last year, 25 the year before, then 16, 17, 19. They're huge numbers.
Huge numbers.
And that first year where he had that first 20-plus season try assist, I reckon halfway through the year is on like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Remember he had that finish he was essentially going 2 TAs a week.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
And then
I'm pretty sure if you have a look over that period, the only guy that would compete with him for try assist was Cody Walker over that 2 year period. But Cody's obviously dropped off quite a bit. And Drinky, he's on 12 now?
12 already in 11 games. And then even like the tries in that period. So he scored 3 this year, but the last 3 years he went 10, 11, 11.
Far out. I don't think he gets enough appreciation for how good he is. Like, I really do not think he does. Like, if you were to talk about, I reckon there's a lot of people out there, if you said who's the top 8 fullbacks or top 10 fullbacks, some people wouldn't put him in there. Like, I genuinely think that because he's up north, he's out of sight, out of mind, he's a legend of a bloke. But he's absolutely in the top 10 fullbacks in the competition. No doubt in my mind.
And as well, 12 tries this year, he only picked up 1 on the weekend. It's not like he's stacked it with
with like
3 over the weekend when they were, scoring a heap of points.
I just wanted to bring that up. I don't think he gets enough appreciation, Scott Drinkwater, for how good he is. And I know the immediate response is, what about defence? I get all that, but mate, what about attack? Because he's literally one of the best in the competition. And think about who he was competing with too. Like he's competing with, they're on average the most highest paid players in the competition, the fullbacks. Just sort of bring that up. But back to the Tigers. I think they can take a lot of. It's just the problem with the Tigers is that, and I'm with you. What you were kind of saying before, it's like, when does this stop happening? When does it stop happening at these like silly like the Luai one for me? It was just like, mate, you are way too experienced to be doing that. Like, way too experienced. And I know he made the argument of like, you didn't really say anything first, but 3 in a row, you just got to be smart.
What I found interesting with that was the referee quoted after it, 3 in a row for the same thing. He goes, it is a mandatory sin bin.
I think they changed the rule recently. Like, it might have been this year because too many teams were just going, like, honestly, and we'll get to it, but Penrith against the Eels, the amount of time, like, Penrith were getting away with murder around the ruck against the Eels.
Yeah, like, the use of that terminology says to me, unless it was a throwaway line or whatever, but the use of the term mandatory says that, no, it wasn't a subjective thing from the ref. It had to be done.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure they did change the rules where if there's 3 in a row for the same thing, Gonskis. And so that's where Luai look, if it was a rookie that did it, you'd be like, oh, but that's where he's just got to get that out of his game. Get that out of his game because he's so important to that side.
Mm-hmm. Did Royce Hunt get injured in this one, or was that a HIO, or did he just play 15 minutes flat out?
Yeah, I don't know about the injury, but I did see a fair bit of commentary online about why didn't he get another run,
especially when Twal was gone after 8 minutes.
Yeah, there was some interesting use of the bench in the second half when he probably would have been a good option to get back out there.
Weird benching minutes, full stop.
Yeah, yes, real strange. Yep.
It wasn't a HIA. Might have been an injury, but yeah, he came off after 15 minutes.
Yep.
Maybe it was a game plan to try and win that first 15 minutes with his kind of impact. I know it's not off the bench, but...
Yeah, and sure, but I just thought once Twal went down after 8 and he was Gonski, I thought that would have you bend a little bit. But.
Yep. I'm with you.
I mean, good signs for the Tigers when you got Heath Mason and Luai. Heath Mason running for 123 metres, Luai running for 136 metres. That's fucking pretty good for your halves.
I thought Heath Mason was excellent. So he played Australian Schoolboys at 6, I believe. Every time he's played so far, he's played at fullback in first grade. I thought he was really good. I reckon his spot probably will be, I could be wrong, but 14. I think he covers some good positions.
Yeah, great 14.
When the game slowed down a bit as well, or in the second half, he knew when to run. He put a few blokes through some holes as well. But I have Fino in there with Luai, and I bring him off the bench, and he can kind of give Appy a bit of a chop out, or come and play as a bit of almost like a running 13. But I thought he was very impressive.
So you don't have talent in your side, full strength?
Well, he hasn't been in it at the moment. He seems to have fallen down the pecking order a little bit. I think he's great. I don't know what's going on there. There's a few defensive things, maybe, but I feel like you probably get a bit more coverage out of Heath Mason than you do out of Talon, who just goes into 9, and that would be it.
I just have a bit of a worry about Mason defensively in the middle.
Yeah.
Especially when Appy already struggles a little bit defensively.
Well, that was a thing with De Silva as well. They were kind of...
Really hope that Talon, I hope him not getting picked isn't a Galvin-related thing.
Because surely not.
They're best mates, He posted his thing the other day about him at Canterbury, saying my boy and all. I don't know. He seems like too much of a good player to me not to be utilising. Especially when you've got your club captain Appy, who they were using for less minutes to get him on the field 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, I certainly can't really make sense of the Brenton Aiden as the 14 at the moment. That's a little bit of a strange one.
I actually thought he looked okay the other day.
He was good.
I thought he looked good, but I can't make sense of the decision.
But not at 14.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess we'll see.
I think it'll be very interesting when Latu inevitably does come in and partner Luai. I think we know the intangibles, and you can see what he's done leadership-wise to this side, and they're much improved this year. The Tigers with Luai there, but statistically speaking, he hasn't scored a try. He's had 4 tries this all season, but as I said, particularly in attacking territory, he's pretty well played second fiddle to Lockie Galvin. And when Latu comes in as a 5'8", Luai, he, in theory, will be more dominant as a half. So I'm keen to see the impact, and just the dynamic of the halves changes entirely. So I think we'll get to see more of this Luai actually at halfback taking control of the game with Galvin gone. Fascinating few months for him.
Yeah. The positive is you scored 28 points without Galvin. Like when Galvin was in the side, a lot of your points were just around him.
Yeah.
So that's a positive, good takeaway, I guess.
Yep. 100%.
So yeah, look, Tigers, it's just a matter of, you don't want to make this a habit of, oh man, we would have won it if we didn't have this silly error or this 10 in the bin.
Yeah.
The most ill-disciplined side last year, I think.
It felt like that at the first. I was like, this is like last year. Like we hadn't had a half like that in a while, but we definitely had it on the weekend. Okay, now onto the Cowboys. As you guys we've kind of all said, like you could kind of take anything out of this. You could go, mate, Dearden and Purdue is like, let's go. Like what a combination. Or you could be like, you let the Tigers score 28 points on you when they had 2 people in the bin at separate times. So 20 minutes of the game was essentially a man down, and they still scored 28 points at home. Thoughts, boys? It's weird.
I don't know what to say. I don't know whether I sit on the positive or the negative. I probably with the Cowboys, if they're a side that doesn't do this very often, I can sort of look past it, but it is concerning they conceded that many points to this Tigers side. I will say, though, I just love watching Purdue.
Oh, mate.
He is just so good to watch and looks great at 5'8". When I just eyeball him and the way he moves and everything, I probably think fullback could be his best position, but he's probably not going to get a shot there. So, like, they're a scary team to come up against. If they can manage to, make their way into a top 8 spot, taking them on week 1 and finals, that'd be a nightmare preparing for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that spine of Robson, Beard, and Purdue Drinky. That's unreal.
If that clicks on you, it's nightmare time. It's
And then even their
nightmare time.
edges in like Bateman and Nanai, both scored a try on the weekend, both have attacking upside. They'd be a hard team to prepare for if you had everything on the line.
Hasn't that Bateman been an underrated signing?
Yep.
Like when that happened, I was like, what the hell? It didn't make sense.
Didn't rate it?
No, well, it was just very frustrating to watch on the weekend. I was like, why didn't you do this when you played for us for 18 months? What's the go? He was great on the weekend, and he's been great all year.
Yeah, it's fair. That's fair. I can understand your frustration.
Anyway.
But he's been underrated because they've had, obviously they lost Lukey. Nanai form dropped in and out. But the amount of times he just gets him into games with his tenacity, his toughness. I think he's been an underrated signing. I really do.
Yeah, he's been a really good signing.
Yeah, you spoke about that dog that a few weeks back, Kempy, that the Broncos are lacking. And there might have been another club, but John Bateman is that dog for the Cowboys that they need, that hard edge.
Yeah, absolutely. And just revs him up, doesn't allow him to get away with nonsense. Like I've seen many times on the field this year where you've seen Bateman yelling at someone like not good enough, and you just need that in your side. So, he was really good. I think Cotter is such an interesting watch this year because he's been solid, but he's been nowhere near the Cotter that we know. I'd love to know what's happening there.
I love Ruben Cotter, as you all know. I do wonder if just the size he plays at and everything, if he just had to put so much into the last 3 years and what he did, if he can maintain that long term. Like I think he's always going to be a very good player, but I do just wonder if he is a bit banged up and it's just taken a lot out. Because he went from being, a handy hooker who could handle himself to, you're an Australian front rower overnight.
Yeah.
He's still pretty young. He's got a lot more to come, but it wouldn't surprise me if he does have a little bit of a lull in his career and then he sort of picks up again in a few years' time because, mate, he's put his body through some pretty messed up shit over the last few years. Like, let's be honest here. Like, he did in Origin.
Even in Origin, he made 45 tackles and didn't miss was it 30 or 40? 30 or 40 tackles, didn't miss any on the edge.
Yeah.
Origin. Like, that's outstanding. A bit of an interesting watch with Cotter. I thought McLean's first stint was really good. I thought he was really good. Hasn't he just hung around? Like, you would have thought he might have been gone a year or two ago. He's just hung around. His first stint was really good. I thought Neem off the bench. Neem came off the bench, didn't he? Mm-hmm. Yep. He was outstanding. He's another guy that just unsung hero of that side. He really is. He just comes off the bench, does his job. He's obviously plays for the Kiwis, doesn't get much praise, but so important to that side. When they're missing Neem, they really look like a different side.
For sure. Yeah, you can tell when he's not there. I thought as well, Sam McIntyre's been really good this year for them. Like, he only played 20 minutes in this game. I think he picked up a knock.
Yep.
That limited his minutes, but I think he's been really solid for them. Just when you just go through, and when you can see 28 points, sure, but mate, those missed tackle stats are
wild.
Pretty wild for them.
Well,
yeah.
I think the world of him. I think he's got a huge future. But Zach Labart, a victim of the Toa once a year game or twice a year game. He was given a bath, wasn't he?
It's like getting struck by lightning. You're just like, shit.
Just unlucky.
Here we go.
Yeah. Got Toa.
He'll learn a lot from it though. But he did a number on him.
On the positive, I thought Jackson Polar had his best game in first grade ever.
He was good.
I thought he was outstanding.
Yep.
Someone messaged me and said, bloody hell, we've managed to make Jackson Polar look like Manu Vatavai out there. I thought he was great. I was great, and I think it's a great sign because he's always had the talent, Jackson Polar. He's always, a relatively biggish winger, athletic. He probably just needs to land at a club where he just fits in really well. So I thought he was outstanding.
285 metres.
Yeah, he had a intercept.
Yeah.
Which would have been good 75, 80. Yeah, even still, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
And this is the Jackson Polar. Like, I remember, was that the Rabbitohs, wasn't he, Matty?
Yep.
You could see the talent there. You really could. So hopefully this is the start of a good thing for Jackson.
It's a good sign for them that, once Murray Talangi's back in the side, he won't be in it. But they've also got Braden Burns, who isn't in this side too. They've actually built, especially in their outside backs, good depth there.
Yeah, so look, as I said, look, if you're a Cowboys fan, a win's a win. Yep. Are they going to be up and down? I think they're going to be like that for quite a while. They're sitting 6th. They've had 5 wins. They're on 15 points. So, they're within striking distance of the top 4. They'd need, I think, 2 wins. No, 1 win, sorry. So, no, 2. They're 15, 16 with a bye. I hate these byes, bro. It's fucking so annoying. So, Sharky's on 16 points, but they played 12 games. So, yeah, I think they'd need 2 wins to get into that top 4, which is doable, which is definitely doable. So, yeah.
Melbourne at Davey Park. It's Friday, 6 p.m. Ooh. Tough. If they kind of produce what they did in the second half, could be a long night.
It'll be a very long night.
I know that buys have played a role, as you just pointed out, but geez, it surprised me when I opened the ladder last night to see 6 Cowboys, 7 Seagulls, 8 Dragons.
I know, it's crazy.
Buys have played a role in that for sure, but the Cowboys have had 2 buys, Dragons have had 2 buys, the Seagulls have only had the 1. I feel like I've seen the Seagulls play a good game of footy once in the last 2 months.
Once good against Penrith and then good against Broncos, that's about it.
It's a wild competition how quickly it all changes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Rabbitohs were sitting 6th before the round finished. If they had won, they would have been sitting in 6th.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, look, I tend to let's just focus on the positive with the Cowboys. Is it a surprise that they can fade in their matches? Yeah, potentially, but they got the win, so that's all that matters. Okay, on to Manly against the Broncos. Both teams in similar positions on the ladder. Both teams in similar positions heading into this game where they're at with the year. I think the Broncos in a bit of a worse position when you actually look at their roster and what they should be doing. Manly came out and absolutely pounded the Broncos, and it is absolutely alarm bells ringing at the Brisbane Broncos at the moment. Manly Seagulls is just about, okay, yep, we know that the Manly can do this. Can we get this Manly Seagulls? Doesn't have to be every single week, but just close to this. You don't want Manly to come out next week and be like a 3 out of 10. So really important. The good thing for Manly, though, this is a really important win for their season. It keeps them in the 8, which is exactly what they need right now. They just need to stay in touch with the 8, hopefully get Tommy back. I thought Lehigh was friggin' unbelievable, but get Tommy back and just make the way I see Manly handling this season is just going on a run. So hopefully they can just get everyone fit, get to about 4 weeks before finals, and just have 8 games that are at their best. Thoughts, Drew?
Yeah, I think you summed up Manly well there, and I feel sorry for Manly. They won, scored 34 points, had a big win, and they're just not the talking point for me. I know DCE can play good games of football. I know Olakau'atu can play. I know Lehigh's a freak. It's just all about Brisbane coming out of this one for me, and I don't know. What do you even I thought, mate, when Ezra Mam scored that try, I think he's the guy that if he's up and about and he scores, it can sort of give you guys a bit of a bolt there. When he scored, I thought, okay, this will be interesting, and it was just no response after that. And the amount of time, I think it happened twice in this game. Payne Haas put himself in just ridiculous spots to collect balls in the in goals, just where he shouldn't have been. And the game started. I think he missed a tackle on Lehigh,
dropped a ball,
had a knock on. I'm never going to hold that against Payne Haas.
He could knock 10 balls on, and I still wouldn't.
100%, I'd still compliment him. But then to still be in those spots to clean up those balls in the in goals and that little I don't know what more the rest of this Brisbane squad needs to go with him.
Mate, it is, as I said, it is absolutely disaster at the moment. Timmy, what do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, really good win by Manly. I think just the biggest thing coming up against Origin props in Carrigan, in Haas, it was just a big tick for their middles who they are light on. They do have injuries there, we know that. They've started to get a few troops come back, but guys like Jazz Tavanga, Ethan Bullymore, you sort of go, can they do a job? Are they starters? And they were fantastic against this really good pack. And I just thought the same as Taru's point, Payne Haas backing up in, again, big minutes for the Broncos. Some of the moments he had, if he wasn't in this game, I think you're probably looking at 50 points if he didn't back up from Origin. And we know he had that quad concern going in, so it's such a credit to him, as he tends to do, backed up, play the big minutes. But there was a line break 20 minutes in. Payne Haas was basically one of the only ones chasing, got there, made the tackle ridiculous. Then there was 5 left in the game. There was another break down the edge, was basically the only one back there, knocked the ball dead. I think you were alluding to, Roo. No right to do all this, and yeah, sure, I think he was sort of a little bit susceptible and vulnerable for the Kohler try late, but it's this bloke is on his last legs because he played such big minutes the last couple of games. If Payne Haas wasn't there, doing all of this, I think they probably put 50 on you. That's without Tom Trebojevic. So, I mean, alarm bells for Broncos and Manly. That was a really good win.
Hammy?
Yep, Broncos in dire straits. So they lost 6 of their last 7 now. They're $2 to miss the 8. They're sitting 11th. Next 5 games, they've got the Titans. It's bookended by the Titans, but then you've got the Sharks, the Warriors, and the Dogs. That's tough. And then in the last 5 weeks of the comp, you played the Storm twice. I just don't know if it's going to get much better from here at the moment, unfortunately. But that was a tough one on the weekend. It was like not just the fact that you lost, but in such an emphatic kind of fashion. Big trouble for the Broncos.
I cannot believe Payne Haas goes in that Origin game carrying an injury, puts on the performance he did, man the match, comes back and is going to play, and the other forwards just can't fucking go with him,
mate.
They're not nobody's playing for this Broncos side. It's a good footy team. I don't know how they look him in the eye. Some of them
mate. It is dire straits. It is dire straits at the moment, and and maybe I've been guilty of it, comparing maybe you look at Serraldo in his first year, but the difference is Serraldo was taking over a roster that a lot of those players weren't even first graders. Not all of them, but they were fringe first graders that were there because they were on the bottom of the table. The difference is imagine Serraldo walking into this roster, and the worry I have at the moment with Michael Maguire is you either need to blow the whole place up or you need to find a way to make it work with this current playing roster, because at the moment they look flat, they look disinterested. They do look like the rumours are true, that they're training too hard and all that kind of jazz, because they started the year so well and all of a sudden they're petering out. The problem is, though, the biggest, and I want to be really clear, I'm not being one of those old boys that are like, poor, this or that, and I'm not saying, I want Madge to kill it and I back him in to do it. But my concern is look how he treated a legend of the club in Kevin Walters, and blamed it all on him, kicked him out of the club and said it was his fault, and look at what this roster is tossing up at the moment after what they tossed up under Kevy. And so clearly the problem wasn't Kevy. And as I said, I'm not trying to go back and say Kevy should keep his job or whatever. I'm not saying that at all. I'm backing Madge in. I'm just saying look at the damage done to a legend and the value of that Broncos jersey. Look at the damage being currently done by this roster, that they get a guy like Payne Haas, a guy like Paddy Carrigan backing up, and they just, doesn't matter what coach is in there, they just do not want to put together consistent performances week in, week out. Doesn't need to be a world beater, but just hanging in games. And I looked at the Warriors South game, and as a Broncos fan, I'm just going, I wish my team was playing like that. They're so gritty. They're so tough. They're just playing for each other. At the moment, the Broncos are just not playing for each other. And I think, unfortunately, Michael Maguire, even though it's not right, he's probably going to have to bend. He's probably going to have to go, you know what, I'm going to have to take a step back and just get this playing roster happy. And then when the time comes for me to make decisions on who I keep and don't keep, I remember who couldn't get on board when I was trying to instill these cultural values that I'm trying to instill.
And I look at that and, where do you point the fingers? Because there's so many issues going on at the Broncos at the moment. But you sit there and you see Pat Carrigan and Payne Haas back up in big minutes for 142 metres and 139 minutes. And to Rue's point of other blokes in the pack go, no, let's give these blokes a break. Let's lift this week. And you go, Kobe Hetherington had 4 runs for 29 metres. Corey Jensen came on in the middle rotation, 4 runs for 31 metres. Piakura 5 for 39 metres. Takura had 7 runs for 47 metres in some lesser minutes. But prior to Takura, they all played pretty decent game time, and just no one is lifting. And that's where I sit there and go, Madge can't go out there and make these blokes have a crack. I think the answer is, Campy, it's hard in the short term and trying to play finals footy and get the best out of this roster, but I do think he has inherited a roster that, there are so many issues in it. I think, to your point, I think you just back him in for the next couple of years and you let him make changes and you let him weed out any, weaklings that are in the lineup, whoever they are. I don't know, not my job, but get rid of a few of them, get a roster that he wants, and build. Because we know he's done it before. I know he's hard-nosed and all this, but we're playing NRL. Come on.
I just think that, look at what Payne has, the level he's gone to. So the idea, let's say that they're sitting there going, we're fatigued and we're training too hard. Well, why is Payne gone to a whole new level? Why is Paddy gone to a whole new level? And that's why, if I imagine, I'm just thinking tactically, I'm going, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to go through the roster and I'm going to put a tick behind the people that bought in, and I'm going to put a cross behind it. Then I'm going to go back down. I'm going to bend my will a little bit for the current playing roster that needs me to back off so that we have some semblance of success, so it's not a complete disaster. Then when it comes to contract time, I'm going to bring that list back out, and I'm going to see who had a tick next to their name, who had a cross next to their name, and I'm going to rebuild the entire club. And I think that, the problem doesn't just stop at the playing group. It goes all the way to the top. The fact that this club is in this position is just, it's unforgivable. It is unforgivable that this club is in this position and playing like this. Like, it's a disaster. It truly is a disaster. Anything else, boys?
I don't know what more to add to it. As you said, mate, like if the training is too hard and if it's all too much, like, as you just said, Payne Haas, who played an Origin series last year, Broncos, played for the Kangaroos at the end of the year, now into another preseason, backing up with the Broncos, playing Origin, still performing. That says something.
Yeah, it should say something that Payne Haas has had the best Origin he's ever had.
On that note, like, Pat Carrigan's done the exact same thing as well.
Yeah.
He's showing up every single week, Paddy.
Yeah, and even little things like I look at the match and some of our key players are just disengaged. Like, they are just completely, like, I don't see any energy from Renault at times, especially recently. In regards to, Ezra's come just back. He's new into he was great last week, but some of those forward passes this week, I'm just going to put it down to rustiness because he's only been back for 2 weeks. But even Jesse Arthur's at the back, he looked like a chicken with his head cut off.
And you look at the roster and issues and things that, Madge has inherited. Reece Walsh goes down, you go, all right, you tried Cobbo there, that didn't work out for you. Jesse Arthur's gone back there, that didn't work out for you. They just look to me like out and out, centre or wingers, whatever position, because we know how good they've been. Even Arthur's at times this year's been quite good, but you don't really have that fullback depth. Your edge back row we've spoken about all season. Your entire back row, to be fair, you don't have the depth there. So it's
we're playing Willison out on the edge. That's that worked for one game, and all of a sudden, so I think we need back rowers. That's been a problem for a while. I think that the Hetherington at 13, I guess that testing period, that's over. I just think you've got to put Patty back there. Put Willison to start with Haas, and then bring Kobe off the bench for impact. I think at the moment, and I was a big proponent of putting Jesse Arthur's back just because of his fitness, but unfortunately he just doesn't read the game as well at the back there. Selwyn Cobbo, I don't think he's fit enough for the fullback position at the moment. They do have a young guy, I think his last name's Latrell, I think, or something.
Latrell Seagwalt.
Yeah, is he ready for first grade? Maybe not, but he's an out-and-out fullback.
Walsh was due back, meant to be the week just been, and then
tweaked his knee.
Yeah, there was a setback. So did they say how much longer that it would be? Do you know? Or
I'm not sure. They just said he tweaked it. The problem I have is this: back in the day, and I don't want to I'm not back in my day or whatever, but there used to be a young 20-year-old ready to fucking go. If Kay went down, there was a gun 20-year-old ready to go at the Broncos. At the moment, we're moving blokes that aren't even anyway. So as I said, I think that the club needs to back Madge in all the way here. I think that Madge also needs to look at it and go, as I said, pull the sheet out, ticks and crosses, bend a little bit to get them. Almost just to see, okay, what do they look like when I just let them just bring happiness to the joint? Because right now, even Madge looks down as anything. And they're going to look to him for that energy boost. And Wayne Bennett, and I hate to compare to Wayne Bennett, he's the greatest coach of all time, but his ability to, when you're down in the dumps, to go, you know what, boys, we're doing no fitness this week. We're going to come into training and we're just going to have fun. And all of a sudden, it turns a really unhappy, and that's what I think Madge needs to do. Not because that's what he should be doing long term. It's just just get the best out of what you can of this roster. Then when you have the decision time, make that hard call when it comes. But right now, if you grind these boys they clearly don't respond to that. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying they don't respond to it. So if you're going to end up at the bottom of the table anyway. You may as well go, okay, what do you boys want then? How do you want to? Do you want to do less this, less that? All right, I'll give you that for the next 2 or so weeks. And then just see what happens. Just see what happens. Because the thing with Kevy is clearly they did respond to Kevy, where he was very much about making them happy and enjoying footy and having fun. Because I think that's the only thing they respond to. I really do.
How long ago does it feel? Round 5. They were second on the ladder. They were 4-1. They were looking rock hard fit. were saying if you didn't know who was coaching them, you could guess who was coaching them at that point. Since then, they've won one game of football.
And we did say the only thing we're worried about is are they too fit too soon?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Madge needs to just bite the bullet a little bit here, understand this playing roster. They're probably not going to have the grit to win a premiership, but they might be able to get you in the top 8 to help you recruit. Because the thing with Matt, the tough situation Madge has right now is if he goes all the way with this, like, I am the hard taskmaster, they're going to be in the bottom 4. Who's going to want to come to the club then? If he bends a little bit, gets him somehow, some way into the top 8, he's going to be able to have more power in the negotiation room. He's just got to make sure that, let's say they do go on a bit of a run because he does bend a little bit, make sure that he doesn't get fooled by, okay, when I do want to instill these cultural values, I'm going to keep this guy. I think he's got to remember, when I did put my stuff into this team, these are the players that responded, these are the players that didn't. Because right now, I'll be honest, and I think actually a lot of Broncos fans agree with me, I could be wrong, I think a lot of Broncos fans think Payne Haas should leave and win a premiership somewhere else. I don't think we deserve him as a club. And that's me being totally honest. I don't want him to. I don't think the Broncos deserve him as a club. I don't think that playing roster deserves Payne Haas at the moment. I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And like that's a harsh reality, and I know most of those guys are much better footy players than I ever was, but I think he deserves better.
Well, that game on the weekend, backing up from Origin, and the effort areas he put in when he had no right to do it, like that highlighted it, right? Like, why does he have to just absolutely bust his ass week in, week out after Origin when blokes around him just, as you said, look disinterested? It's like, he's going, screw this, I don't want to do this forever.
Yeah, anyway, the problem is with this playing group, it seems like there are a couple of people in there that are off Madge and they don't agree with the way Madge is going, and it's leaking out to the rest of the roster where they're all just going, we train too hard, I'm too tired, we're going too crazy. And it just seems to have leaked out. And if I'm Madge, I'm trying to find who that is. And obviously they're not going to be at the club anymore. Yeah.
What do you do with Adam Reynolds?
Well, I think at the moment, I love Reno. If I'm Reno, I'm saying, mate, take that massive contract to the Tigers. I tell you what, you won't be training as hard as you are at the Broncos. You get the big contract. You'll probably suit what you want at this point in your career. Because it doesn't look like he's happy. Does he look happy to you boys?
No, not at all. No.
He does not look happy. And so, if I'm a mate of Renault's, and I really do like Renault, I'm going, mate, thanks for your service. Got us to a grand final. You've been a really big part of taking us from the bottom of the table to where we are now. I know we're not going that well. But, mate, take the coin. Because it doesn't look like you're happy.
What are you going to do then? What do you...
Mate, I think a full explosion needs to happen and a full rebuild needs to happen.
I think you're right.
Whilst keeping Payne Haas, Carrigan, Reece Walsh...
just build around those 3.
Yeah, just build around those 3. As long as Reece Walsh is all in, Ezra is also there. Yeah, that's what I'd be building a roster around. Because you have to anyway. Like, Reece Walsh just signed a long-term deal. Ezra signed a long-term deal. Payne Haas, you want to keep him there forever. Carrigan, but I think there needs to be a complete overhaul. The problem is, again, when you look at that on paper, you should go, why should we need an overhaul? Look how good this is on paper. But I think they do.
I'd love to see him at the Tigers.
I think he'd kill it. I think he's where he's at in his career right now. He would suit exactly. To my understanding, the Tigers training, they don't train anywhere near as hard as some of the crazy teams, but it's a super happy playing group, like extremely happy. And it's almost like Wayne Bennett has always notoriously been yes, preseason is relatively hard, but it's not crazy hard. He just makes you happy. You want to be there. You cannot wait to get out there on the weekend. You're so confident in everything you do. You're just so confident. Look at South right now. Like, they play like a happy, confident side. So I think, unfortunately, unless it doesn't turn around the next few weeks, I think that there's going to be a massive clean out of the club. And I'll be on. If I'm being honest, I don't think it'll just be the playing roster. I think there's going to be a bomb dropped on the whole organisation and a clean out. Mate, we haven't won a comp since 2006. We're the Broncos. Like, I know everyone hates the Broncos, but, like, let's be real here.
No, we hate you because you are the Broncos.
Yeah, like, we have all the resources.
Yeah.
Used to get that jersey, do you know how hard it used to be to get in that top 30? Like, you had to be one of the best in the country just to get into the top 30. Nowadays, we've got guys that wouldn't even make benches of other teams, just getting debuts and that.
Wouldn't that be unique if Adam Reynolds lands at the West Tigers? Like, the coach was his 14 3 years ago.
That's crazy. Would you like Reno there if he stays injury free?
Yeah. I mean, I really want to see what Latu can do, and I don't want to lose him.
Yeah.
I'm terrified of
Surely
losing.
he stays around for a year or two. He's 19, 20.
Yeah. Yep. I don't want to run the risk of another really talented young guy walking out the door.
That's fair.
And if they keep him happy and lock him down and you get 10 years out of him, maybe that's a good result too. But obviously he's under a bit of injury cloud at the moment. But that's one thing I thought was a bit of a silver lining out of Galvin going. He's like, all right, sweet. Well, maybe we can keep this other prodigy that we've got on our cards at the moment. But look, yes, I think he'd suit what we've got there already. The spine's already pretty good.
Yep.
He'd be a great organiser for us for sure.
If you were to let Adam Reynolds go, do you think you go to Mark for a 7, or do you just go with Kobe Black? And
Mate, you know what we need? We need a guy that is like a Cam Murray. I know he's not on the market everywhere, but like a leader on the field, a guy that is going to tell the boys that's because I guess the one thing when I look at Paddy and Payne, are they yelling at blokes like Jake Trbojevic and that, or are they leading with their actions? Sometimes you need guys that are leading with their actions, but also leading with their words as well. Like when they're behind the try line, who's speaking? I want to know who's speaking and who is going. Like who is yelling at the boys, going that is not good enough. And I think we definitely need a forward in the pack that's a bit older that can do that, can demand the respect of the players. Because I think with Payne and Paddy, they're more action orientated. And I'll be honest, like even on the field with Darren Lockyer, like. He wasn't a huge talker, yapping all the time. He was a leader. He would just look at you and you would just follow him because he led with his actions. So it doesn't mean it's a bad thing that you lead with your actions, but I do think this team is missing, like even a guy like Hodjo or Corey Parker, like these guys, they would spray the fuck out of you if you missed a tackle or you dropped a ball or at training. Like the amount of times you'd walk in and if your body language looked bad, they would literally be like, fucking pull your head in. You're here playing at the Broncos. Like, we'd fucking get rid of you, get someone else if you don't want to fucking smile. Like, I know that sounds ruthless, but that's what it was. It was an honour to be in that locker room. I think we need to get that back. I know it's easy to say. And I hate to be like, oh, back in my day, but it just is what it is. Okay, Manly. Man, Lehigh Hopper-Whitey. What a star. What a star. I mean, the bloke is like fending back rowers that are 105 kilos, sending them flying. He's like 82 kilos ringing wet. He might be the strongest man pound for pound in the NRL right now. Seriously, that's how strong he is in contact.
he is so good to watch, isn't he? He just like he's sort of in that have to watch territory whenever he's whether it be wing, centre, fullback. I don't care.
Just get him on TV.
Yeah,
just get him on TV. He is absolutely electric. He's so strong in contact. He works all day long. And what I like about Lehigh, and it's this younger generation, is like if they make an error, they don't give a shit. They just who cares? I'll go again. Not that he made heaps of errors on the weekend. I'm just saying past weekends.
Yeah, it's almost like tough for Seabold. Like when Tommy Turbo comes back and goes to fullback, you've got these superstars or like budding superstars in your back line in Tolotau Kola, in Leo Hopper-White. It's like, all right, how do we get the best out of all of them? Because, you know, you could argue all of them should be playing fullback for them, Kola included. And then you go, all right, I love the Kola try on the weekend, the set play out there with Luke Brooks, and they brought him over to the other side and ran that beautiful line. It's like, how do you get the best out of these blokes week in, week out when they're all on deck?
Yeah. Sorry, just quickly back on the Broncos. I won't stay for long, guys. I know you don't like it. Our attack is diabolical. Like, we need to sort our attack out, and currently Barrett is our coach. But whatever they are doing at training needs to be sorted ASAP, because we've gone from the best attacking team in the comp when we want to be, or at least one of them, to we can't even attack anymore. So we need to sort that out.
You'll handle those couple of Reece Walsh errors when he comes back, won't you?
Now I will, after watching the weekend. Honestly, did you ever think you'd watch a Broncos game and say that was boring as batshit? We used to be, at least, if we weren't winning, we were entertaining at least. Yeah. We're not even that anymore. It's boring, terrible, yuck. Mate, am I wrong?
No.
It was gross footy to watch. Yeah. And it's a Broncos side we're talking about. We're not talking about like a side that is, anyway. Yeah, back to, you're right. Like, how do you get Lehigh in his best position? I like Cooler as an out-and-out centre, but he also could play fullback. He finds himself in a really interesting position, Seabold, because obviously Tommy at his best, and when he's on that field, they play so much better. But at some point, you've got to go, we need some stability in these key positions, and Lehigh's been so good. I don't think he'll ever reach the heights of Tommy. I don't think there'll be any fullback that would reach his heights. But, like, do you consider Tommy at centre and Lehigh there at fullback for a long
I guess
period?
the stability lies in that every time Tommy's been out in the past, they'd sort of chop and change between a few different fullback options, whether it's Gary, Cole, whatever it might be. It's so clear, like, as good as those blokes can do a job there, it's Lehigh play. So whenever Turbo misses games, Lehigh's back there, and hopefully you get a bit of continuity that every time Turbo is out, you build these combinations, knowing that unfortunately Tommy's going to miss games because of his history. At training, you just give him a lot of time at fullback so that it's not such a shock to the system when Turbo's gone.
Yeah, absolutely. Like even a full preseason training there, because like he can go on the wing and he's so talented, he'll make it work. But yeah, I think the idea that like they're umming and ahhing who should replace Turbo when he's injured is done now. Like it's got to be Lehigh every time, in my opinion.
Which is crazy because 2 years ago it was done. It was Ruben Garrick. Then a year later it was done. It has to be Cooler. Now it's Lehigh.
Yeah, mate. Their outside backs are phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And I mean they got Tommy Talau sitting there in the wings waiting to go as well.
When Saab was laid out in this one, he was named during the week, and then Falalalo came in. He killed it,
mate. Some of his plays were outstanding. And if you go and look at his resume in New South Wales Cup, like he scored tries for fun. Like they've got the best outside back depth in the competition, I reckon, the Manly Seagulls. It's just a matter of if they can just find a way to get Tavanga and Bullymore to work, they have they're mobile enough to go with the modern game, I think, the Manly Seagulls.
I think that they're another side, going back to what we spoke about earlier, like surely you can find a club that you can loan out one of these outside backs to and
get a big forward.
Get a front rower back.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
Surely. Yeah,
like,
it's a great point.
You guys don't need outside backs at the moment. You guys would have been perfect with all the forwards you've got.
Like a Trey Mooney or something. Imagine Trey Mooney rocking up to Manly for a year.
Except for, I don't know if the Raiders even answer that fucking call at the moment. Because they just don't need anyone.
Yeah, so it's a good point. That's a good point. But yeah, it's a great win from Manly. Really, really good win. And I think what we didn't give them enough credit for is like Tavangas played most of the year at 9. And like they were missing their main 9. And Lockie Croker, he come on and immediately had impact with his defence. He actually was the one that made Haas drop the ball with some great defence through the middle. If Croker can get back to his best footy, all of a sudden Tavanga goes into the rotation. Bullymore gets more experience. They're looking to re-sign Bullymore in long term. Like the big complaint against Manly was the mobility of their forward pack. I mean, a Tavanga, Bullymore, Brown, that's a relatively mobile forward pack. So it can work. They just got to get that consistency in there.
I really think they need to move Jake into just being a front row forward. It's done. I know they won't do it, but
just do it. Tavanga's your 13. I'd
love to hear. This is where I'd love to hear some journos go into those press conferences and ask the questions we want to hear the answers to. I'd love to hear what the thought process is there. Is it just that Jake's got so much respect in the squad, and I get that, but when he wore 8 for New South Wales last year and captained them, like put him in the front row.
Put him with Bullymore. He's got an experienced guy beside him. He's got the leg speed that can take care of if there's any leg speed issues. But Tavanga, he can be Aaron Clark is for the Warriors, is for Manly. Like, I know he has discipline issues at times, but you can have faith that Seabold can coach that out of him. Got great ball playing. He's tough as nails. He's got dog in him, so he'll get him down and dirty if he needs to be. Yeah, I'm with you, mate. I think that needs to happen. Just look at any other performances. Olakau'atu.
I'm equally so confident it won't happen.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Olakau'atu, 2 tries. Really good game after Origin to have for Olakau'atu. He did dip a little bit before Origin, but it's good to see him bounce back up to where we need him to be to get a shout. On the Origin side.
He was enormous.
Yeah, huge.
I thought Corey Waddell was good too. Sort of been a bit of a journeyman, but I was fine with him. He does the job.
Mate, he's a great squad player.
Yeah.
Because he'll come in and you might get an injury for like 10 weeks or whatever, and he'll just come in, he'll do a job. You can rely on him, play multiple positions. So really, really good win for Manly. It's just a matter of, just consistency. It really is consistency.
Either Bullymore, did he make team of the week in the end, or did you just have him in yours in the green?
He did. Yep, he did.
I thought I was a smoky for Origin for Queensland a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, Smokey, like that leg speed through the middle.
Yeah, I don't know. Just, he obviously started this game, but he made a bit of a name for himself, start of this year, through last season as well, just coming off the bench and doing that role really well. I don't know, maybe at some point.
Could he be a chance in game 2?
Probably not game 2 if they were to lose it and look at some new people in game 3.
Maybe game 3, I reckon. Game 2, it's got to be Arrow Horsburgh, surely.
That's what I'd do.
Yeah. I would have had him in my start side.
I mean, they weren't even in the extended squad the other day.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Did you see those comments from Billy Sider this morning?
What did he say?
Essentially just saying that old saying, if you do the same thing and expect different results, you're crazy.
Interesting, because after the game, he said he believed in the current playing group. We'll see.
Stick.
We'll see. Hey?
Pick and stick.
Very cocky, boys.
You guys changing your halves again for next game?
Yeah, Luai come in, maybe.
Well, we could change. We'd still win by 20. So.
We only won by
settle.
You only won by 1 to 12. So
yeah, the quote from Slater: "I'm a believer that if you do the same thing and expect a different result, you're pretty silly."
He's a believer, Justin Believer.
I'm a believer. Smash Mouth.
Yeah, great song. Yep. Okay, next game: New Zealand Warriors versus Rabbitohs. I've got to say this. I'm jealous. I watched this game as a jealous fan because I'm going, mate, these two sides have so much ticker, so much grit, so much will. They're missing players or they're not missing players. They just hang in games for as long as they possibly can. I mean, the New Zealand Warriors absorbed all this pressure in the first half. Then that looks like they come out in the second half, looks like they're going to run away with it. And then Rabbitohs go, nah, we're not going to go down without a fight. They just eventually hold on. I think both teams can take a lot out of this. I thought this was a outstanding game of rugby league. And as I said, they make you jealous because you go, on paper, this should be the week that they, fall apart or whatever. Look, they've got 6 and a 7 that are new combinations and they might be missing Fish, or Barnett goes down, he's out injured for the rest of the game. But whoever goes up next is just next up mentality. This is a bloody good game to watch and a bloody good win for the Warriors as well.
Yeah, huge win for the Warriors. Obviously, they've played in some pretty tight games recently and whatnot. And honestly, after what they've put their bodies through over the last few weeks, I wasn't convinced they had 36 points in them this game to hang on, but...
They've won four on the trot in Sydney. I think it's the first time since their inaugural year that they've done that.
Yeah, and they've lost 1 or 2 games since coming back from Vegas. 2.
Think of the injuries these guys have had. Think of the excuses both teams have had to pack this season in. And yet they're both still fighting. The Rabbitohs, they're not even close to full strength. They are so far away from full strength. And they nearly pipped this game in the end there. And also, if you take out a 10, 15-minute period, they do win the game. They clocked off for a 10, 15-minute period. Warriors took advantage of it. As I said, I watched this game as a jealous fan, just so happy to watch two teams that were just playing for each other. Both these teams prove that if you play for each other, it doesn't matter who the man is beside you. Obviously, you need a certain level, but if they're an NRL caliber player, if you're playing for each other, you can go a pretty long way in the NRL. You really can. A really, really fun game to watch. We'll start with the Warriors. We'll get to the Rabbitohs. What do you think of this game, Timmy?
It just had everything, didn't it?
Yeah. So good.
Warriors looked home for a while, then Latrell Mitchell off the back of Origin basically just carried him on his back. It was absolutely sublime what he did that back half of the game. Alex Johnston brought up 200s. We'll get to him shortly. And it just had a bit of everything. Even you add in the controversy around Mitchie Barnett going off 20 minutes into the game injured, so the Warriors had to lift themselves through that as well. It was an absolute cracker in great conditions in Sydney for it as well. And yeah, as you said, just the Warriors with another win on the road again. They're at the point where I'm just not waiting for the wheels to fall off, but just have a down week. And every time we go to the tips now, I'm like, just don't overthink them. Just pick the Warriors to win because
it's a bit like the Raiders.
It is. It's like they've given no reason to jump off them and suggest they are going to have a bad week.
This week will be interesting, taking on the Sharkies, obviously coming off a bye. But I'm the same, boys. I don't know if I can tip against the Wires at the moment.
You could make the argument that this is the best a Warriors side has ever looked, period.
Yeah, you could. You genuinely could. And people will go back to the grand final sides and all that. But I think this side hangs in the contest more than any Warriors team I've seen before. 2023 was exciting. It wasn't like this.
I'll put it out there. I reckon this is the most mentally tough Warriors side I've ever seen.
That's the word for it, yes.
Because they will truly hang in anything. Any contest, they will hang in it. The amount of games they've lost momentum and should have lost and been run over, but they just wrangle it back somehow. It's just amazing. And Metcalf and Harris Tavita, they haven't even come close to hitting their straps yet. They really haven't. Metcalf had a bloody good game on the weekend. But I reckon there are still levels left in Metcalf to reach as a 7. He's 15 games into his NRL career, maybe 20 at most. Imagine when this bloke hits his straps.
Then you had Harris Tavita just had a year off.
Yeah, mate, it is just It's amazing. It is amazing what they're doing. Absolutely amazing.
Just on that note as well, just, good things they're doing. The New South Wales Cup won again on the weekend. They're 11-1. They've scored the most points in the competition. They're the only team to score 400 points so far. And, mate, they've got the best defence in New South Wales Cup by the next closest is 50 points away from them.
Wow.
30 points away from them, sorry. Like, it's a
we might be
system.
witnessing, juggernaut being birthed. And I'll tell you what, speaking of juggernauts being birthed, there is a play that you watch if you're a Warriors fan, and it must make you so excited. Something that you may never have seen before in regards to the fact that these players are locked up long term. But Vemanga offloads to Chance, I think, and then Chance offloads to Leka Halasima, and then he scores. To watch that all connect together and then realise that you have those two boys signed up to at least 2027, maybe even to 2029, like, the Warriors are set when it comes to young talent at the moment. They are already at 19, 20 years old impacting games like that. And it was purely off their own, like a big fella like Leka Halasima having the footwork that he did to score. Then you had Vemanga, his ability to win contact and offload. Like, the fact that those two joined for such a good try, like, that must be so exciting as a Warriors fan going, we might have another decade of this.
Genuine game breakers at any point.
Literally any point. You can throw Halasima or Vemanga the ball and the try might be scored. Anywhere on the field.
Yeah.
That's exciting. That's unbelievable. Usually, the Melbourne Storm sign Leka Halasima. The Broncos get Vemanga. You know what I mean? Like, usually these guys go to the Roosters or something like that. Right now, they've just signed 4 or 5 year deals at the Warriors. Like, this doesn't usually happen at the Warriors. They usually lose all their best young talent to the top tier sides. That's what's exciting at the moment.
I'll tell you what, it's going to be a big, 24, 48 hours for the Warriors, pending Mitch Barnett.
Oh, but you know what? I got faith. If he's done for the season, obviously it's a fucking massive loss. I've got faith that they'll be a lesser version, but they won't go to water like they have in the past. I mean, they literally beat. They just lost to the Raiders, missing Barnett and Fisher-Harris.
Yep.
So hopefully it comes back as just an MCL, not an ACL. But I got faith that the Warriors will be able to sort it out.
That's the beauty of it as well. Like, if they can hold on to their position now and they get to finals week 1 and they're dragging a team across the ditch, win over there, like, you're only 1 win away from a grand final.
Absolutely. And who knows?
That game would be over there too, wouldn't it, then? If they're the home side?
If they're in the top 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, surely.
So
at least one of them would be, I think. The second one, if they finish 4th, their second game would be over there and they lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if they were to win finals week 1, then their next game would also be
over there.
Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah, mate. Absolutely. And I know Barnett's a massive loss, but here's Jackson Forward's stats for the weekend. 59 minutes, 151 metres, 44 post contact, 2 tackle breaks, 37 tackles, 0 errors. Like, I know he's not on Barnett's level, but he's playing the best footy he's ever played at the moment. The Warriors coming off the bench, filling a hole there. And, who's to say that Vemanga can't come in or Laban can't come in? I mean, that's the thing. Laban's 18th man still. Mate, it's exciting times.
I think what they'll do is I would assume they maybe just bring Halasima to start and Niokore goes back to a middle rotation. They could keep it as is, but it's like...
Mate, Niokore, not bad.
He's playing such good footy.
He's playing like he used to play at the Eels at the moment. He's going so well on the edge there.
Do you remember, and I don't know how long ago it was, but when Zion signed with the Bulldogs and we all sort of went, oh, fuck, are they going to lose these guys? I haven't thought about it since.
It's crazy. And I don't think he's even debuted yet for the Dogs.
He hasn't played for Canberra, I don't think, no.
It is just... yes, will they win the comp this year? Well, it remains to be seen. But what I can promise you, we have never seen a Warriors club in this strong position, ever, in my opinion.
And for the first time, if they don't win the comp this year, I don't think they're going to beat themselves. It's going to take a good footy side to knock them over.
Mate, good luck playing them over there in a finals game. You're going to walk off that field very fucking sore. Very fucking. Because what you're getting a mixture of what makes the Warriors great is these incredible athletes. They're big, they're powerful and strong, mixed with discipline, mental toughness, a bit of flair as well with Metcalf in 7. We say it every single week. I'm just going to get a counter up and just say it once a week. Matter of fact, I'm just going to press a recording. The side has gotten better after losing Harris, Adam Fanor-Blake and Sean Johnson. How is that even possible? And
Dylan Walker.
And Dylan Walker. I mean, Aaron Clark, he might win bloody lock of the year at the moment. He'd be my Dally M lock of the year now.
Yeah.
Actually a favourite, yeah.
He couldn't even get a start at the Titans. This is how good the system is at the Warriors. They took a guy from the Titans that couldn't even get a start off the bench and was playing 9, playing front row, playing 13 sometimes, to he might win a Dally M medal at the Warriors. That shows you how good this system is right now. It's super, super exciting. In regards to individual performances, we already spoke about Chance, so go to Hungriest Player and check that out. I mean, it was the Metcalf show, wasn't it? Like, just his brilliance got him across the line in the end. I know eventually the Rabbitohs were coming back, but it really was his brilliance that made them edge away there after half time. Who stood up for you guys?
Metcalf has to be well and truly in the running for a Dahlia medal this year, doesn't he? Like, he'd have to be.
Mate.
I think he was leading before it went behind closed doors this week.
Has it gone behind closed doors now?
Yes, behind closed doors, and I'm pretty sure you're right. He was at the very least he was in the top 5. He was definitely in the top 5.
He jumped over Will Kennedy a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Surely he might not have got 6 on the weekend, but he would have got at least 3, wouldn't he?
Yeah, so you would have gone C and K. You know what? You never fucking know.
Yeah, you do.
Jesus Christ. Mate, some of these. Anyway. Yeah, mate, he'd have to be up there. He'd have to be up there, absolutely. What a turnaround as well. Luke Metcalf, a guy that struggled with injury, couldn't get a start. Even when he got to the Warriors, it was like, he did his hammy again. And all of a sudden, he's, they're essentially sitting in the top 2.
Yeah, so he held the outright lead last weekend on 31 points. Will Kennedy was in second, who obviously collected nothing over the weekend. Teddy was on 28. I don't know how many points he would have got for the Roosters, realistically. Terrell May, I don't think he would have got many points. I think the Cowboys would have taken most of the points in that game. Mm-hmm. Payne Haas, Isaiah Katoa. Mate, I reckon of the top 5 Dally M's this weekend, he was probably the only one that got more than 2 points.
Wow.
He was already in front.
How good's Nia Correa been? Jeez, he's been strong. You mean?
He's been probably the best foot he's played since being at the Warriors. And it's shown. He spent so much time coming off the bench and chopping between middle and edge. And I thought 2 weeks ago, when Hallerstein would lock down that starting edge role, I'm like, all right, Nia Correa will just be in the middle now. And that was when they'd shifted Kate Will to centre at different stages. And I'm like, all right, this is what it is now. But Webby has so much faith in him and justified by his form. It's like, no, they go back to the bench. Nia Correa's our man. He's been awesome for them.
So good. And fulfilling that potential, he's this huge ball running, great line on the edges. He should be decimating sides, and he's finally feeling that potential. So, listen, just so exciting at the Warriors right now. It really is. Okay, on to the Rabbitohs. I mean, far out. Talk about Charlie Mitch just going, I'm turning it on now. Oh, my God. That second half, fuck. He just went nah, enough's enough. I'm going to try and win this game. And did what Latrell Mitchell does. And it's scary. It is scary for New South Wales and in Origin. When he's in this kind of mood, when he's confident like this, he's about to do some damage in Origin. And he had some good moments in Origin, some great defence for periods, probably a little bit overshone by Critter. So what scares me as a Queenslander is game 2, he's not going to be overshadowed by anyone.
And just, you sat there on Wednesday night and obviously New South Wales were dominant in that game, but I walked away going, just Rob Toya is ready for this. I thought and then you watch Latrell and I know he's playing a different position and all that, but just the impact he had on this game, I just sat back and went, it's good to remind yourself what Rob Toya handled the other night.
Mate,
what
crazy.
He did
Great. It got lost in the noise because Queensland got dominated, but it was a great debut from Toya.
He was great.
A great debut. In regards to the Rabbitohs, and we'll speak about Keon, I'm sure, but I thought Jai Arrow's first, especially his first stint, was absolutely phenomenal. And it was that dog that Queensland missed, in my opinion.
If he is not named for you guys next week, I will be over the moon.
Gotta be. He's gotta be. Surely. He does all the tough stuff. He's mobile. He's fit. He can play multiple positions. Surely.
Him and Big Red, they come in, they both had that dog factor. As you said, they're mobile forwards, can play between middle and edge. Got to do it.
Surely. Because I thought, especially his first stint, him and Keon had the Warriors under the pump. The South just couldn't execute. They couldn't find the points. And granted, maybe that was because the Warriors were good in defence, but they held the Warriors had to absorb a lot of pressure, and that was off the back of Keon and Jai Arrow, which is you're going up against Barnett and Fish in that first 20 minutes, and they still managed to do it.
Yeah, shout out to Jai Arrow. It's going to be tough to do his State of Origin podcast when he's lining up in the back row for him.
True. Maybe live from the...
But he has to be there.
Sorry, mate.
No, I think he's just with that getting into it again and whatnot. I just thought there was moments in that Origin the other night where it just didn't feel like Queensland were as assured of themselves as they normally are in the Origin arena. And I just feel like they're missing a guy like him that is just not going to take a backward step.
He's an Origin player.
He's an Origin player out now.
He's made for Origin.
Does he? I think we all like him as a middle, but from a Maroons Origin perspective, where you have a fair few middles as is, I mean, granted you'd still use him there, but does he solve sort of an edge dilemma for you and just play him on the edge and play in big minutes, or what do you do?
I didn't mind. Cotter got through his work.
He did his job.
Did his job. Good in defence is all you need, and then just get Arrow through the middle, just to try and go toe to toe with your Spencers, and also like when Lomax gets the ball, I want someone trying to take his head off, and that's Arrow. And look, will he miss? He might miss, but at least he's trying to take his head off.
Personally, I don't edge middle. I actually don't care. I just think he needs to be in the team somewhere.
Yeah. He's outstanding. Let's just talk about him. But Keon Koloamatangi, once again, a try, 27 runs, 216 metres, 79 post contact, played 80 minutes in the middle, 8 tackle breaks, a line break, 40 tackles. I mean, he has to be selected for New South Wales, in my opinion. I think they'll actually go in a different direction, but I think you guys would be insane not to select Keon if Barnett's down.
It would be insane to go in a different direction. Unfortunately, I think we will.
You've got a guy there that can cover anywhere in the forward pack, and also he is killing it, and he has killed it in Origin as well.
I reckon they'll go him.
Surely.
I reckon they'll pick him.
I don't think so. I think they'll go with Stefano, who they were going to pick up if Payne Haas was out. I would go Keon.
I'm happy with that. Aren't you happy with that?
I just felt there was a Tigers push behind
Ignore that. I just look at the numbers and I just go, him or Terrell?
I'm with you. I'm with you. It was funny though.
Yeah.
You are
There's
funny.
probably a bit of Tigers.
I'd pick Keon in a heartbeat. I would have picked him for game one, but I don't know. I just feel optically, I think they will go Stefano.
Okay.
But like the fact that, because you probably, if Mitchie's out, I guess you just start Maxie King. I want impact off the bench. I see that in Keon, because it'd be a shorter stint, probably 30 to 40. The impact he could have in that shorter stint, I think it's more than Stefano. So I'm not convinced he will get picked, but I'd be going off.
And just to that point, we thought there was a chance we might not have Payne Haas, the most impactful forward in the game, and they were going to go Stefano. So.
Remember, a few years ago, playing 80 minutes in the middle was just unheard of, and now blokes are starting to do it for fun.
It's crazy.
Keon's just doing it without breaking a sweat too. It's like, how?
I just think that the amount of athletes, the pool for players coming into NRL, it's so much bigger now. We're essentially opened up all to the islands. The game is getting bigger, so more people are choosing this over union and everything like that. I just think that the athletes, it wasn't like that 30 years ago. There weren't these incredible Polynesian players. There was a few, but not now. There's a lot, and so I think that's changing the core of the game.
But I think it's also just lifting the level in general, because we saw Dylan Egan do it a few weeks ago. He did the same thing at a very high click. It's not just the Polynesian boys that are coming in, but I think they are taking it to a new standard that everyone.
What impressive, Egan, I can for example, a guy like Cam Murray and Egan, those guys, I can it's still incredible. Expect it though. What makes me so impressed with the Polynesians is they're 118 kilos and they're doing it. We never used to see a guy as Payne Haas's size. Oh yeah, we need 80 minutes from it. Yeah, sweet, no worries. But you're right though. You're absolutely right. The floor is lifted. They're
Jack Williams was going to be my other example too. I think that there is a new, and I think this started when Payne Haas debuted. Everyone went, oh fuck.
Yeah.
It's been lifted.
The game's changed.
Yeah. And so you're right. It's a mixture of both things, like the sports science and the recovery and the training and because back in the day, the training we used to do, it was for long distance stuff. We used to go run 4Ks or something. It's what does running 4Ks have to do with repeat speed efforts in the game? Anyway, back to the Rabbitohs performance. Just want to give Alex Johnson a massive shout out. 3 tries, 200 metres, 8 tackle breaks, a line break. One of them was obviously an intercept, but surely they just re-sign him and let him get he might get the record this year.
10 to go? 13 to go?
12 to go. No, sorry. 13 to go. 13 to go. What an incredible feat. And what's crazy is that when you actually look at his age, Johnson, I don't think he's actually super old.
I think he's 30.
So, he's got another year or two in him. He'll get it, surely. It's got to be at the Rabbitohs too.
Yeah, because there's been multiple reports that he has been offered around to clubs.
Yep.
Wayne's tried to do it before, so hopefully he can have more games like this and change the mind. Or as you said, mate, it wouldn't be unlike AJ to score, especially during the Origin
He could do
period.
it.
He can score 9 tries in 3 weeks.
Easy. He's done it before plenty of times.
You had Cody Walker come back into that on the left edge. Latrell sweeping out the back. He could walk it in, maybe not walk it in, but he could do it this year for sure.
Yeah. Like, look at this spine. Havili, Humphreys, Sullivan.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm giving them a rap. Like, you know, they're taking it to a side that's sitting in there's a second, I think. They're second or equal second or third.
Just before we move on AJ quickly too, like realistically, if Latrell wants to get him that record, he'll get him the fucking record.
Yeah.
If Latrell wants to get him that record this
one
year,
of those passes was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot, for the layman watching that just might be just watch rugby league casually, to land the ball there so that he's catching it out like that, but also at full speed, Watene Zelezniak couldn't do anything. He was in the right position, but the ball was so pinpoint that no matter what the only way Watene Zelezniak makes that tackle is if he had already made the wrong decision. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, Latrell was relying on Watene Zelezniak to be in the correct position to outplay him like that. The pinpoint accuracy of that pass. If Andrew Johns threw that pass, we'd be going, that's incredible. Latrell Mitchell threw that pass. He's 6'4". He's 110 kilos or 105 kilos or whatever. Like, I cannot express how hard that is to throw. It's amazing.
And on the flip side, he only throws that pass because he knows he's got a winger that is in the right spot every single time. I see people online that AJ just falls over the line all the time, but like he puts himself in the right spot every single time.
Falls over the line. Okay, first of all, that catch was out in front of him like that, and he had to be exactly where he needed to be.
Mate, there's so many wingers that not only don't score that, don't get a hand to it.
Don't get close to it. Then also, the other try, he had to keep it in one hand, getting tackled and reach out and not do a double movement. And then the other try was an intercept. So don't come at me with this, he falls over the line. No, he's one of the greatest finishers we've ever seen. There is an art to finishing tries. Like, it's not as simple as just pass me the ball, I'll score.
It's because he makes it look easy.
Yeah.
That's the thing. People are like, oh, well, that's an easy try. It's because he gets his hips in the best position every single time, and he makes it look so easy.
And like, it's not like the Rabbitohs have just been this dominant side for every time he's been playing, that he's been on top of the table the whole time. Like, they've been in and out of the 8 at times. They push for top 4. You know, like, it's just amazing.
He's just fallen over the line 200 times. Just got lucky 200 times. Right place, right time.
All 3 of the tries he scored required a high ability of finishing.
I say, like, to your point, Kempy, the one with that Latrell unbelievable ball that you would almost suggest came out of nowhere because it was that freaking good, and Latrell just goes bang. Another winger is a metre deeper or is in front waiting for a kick in behind line or something. They screwed up, but AJ, just perfect timing, right spot.
And if he is a metre back, he gets tackled. If he's a metre forward, he misses the ball. Like, he had to be exactly there to catch it and just go straight past Watene Zelezniak. So just amazing stuff.
It's going to be one of the great rugby league yarns of all time that the kid that in the NRL advertisement morphed into GI turns out to be the highest try scorer in the game's history. That's unbelievable. Only rugby league could produce that.
It's so good. It's so good. Just quickly back to the South before we move on. Mate, Wayne Bennett, his ability to get a roster to just play the absolute pinnacle of their potential. Like, they are squeezing every ounce of every player on the field right now. It is second to none. He's done every club he goes to, every roster he's a part of, he squeezes the absolute last millimetre of potential out of them.
Yeah. I thought in this game too, you just mentioned Jamie Humphreys came off with about 10 minutes ago. Mate, his leg was cooked about 30 minutes into that.
Yeah.
I think it was the Rocco Berry try where he was sort of turn and chasing. Mate, he was peg leg.
Yeah, absolutely. Hot pirate kind of stuff. Campbell Graham had another solid performance. Just great in defence, a couple of offloads. I mean, I cannot wait to see this Rabbitoh side in full strength. They are going to fucking
The left side comes back this week. Walker and Whiten, apparently.
That's it. Walker and Whiten back. They don't even have to scrape in. They play finals and finish wherever it might be. Week 1 of finals, you'd hate to play them like at full strength. With Bennett at the helm, how happy he's got them. Latrell Mitchell or superstar who can win you a game at any time.
Literally. Yeah.
So what else I love to see, and I know, he's still a little bit rough around the edges, but just Wayne letting Tallis Duncan just play 80 minutes on the edge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because in 12 weeks' time, when they come finals time, I think he's going to be a different beast.
What about friggin' Hubner?
Yep.
Like, he's at the Dolphins. Most of us didn't even know who he was. And that's not disrespectfully. He's just a fringe player that hasn't really played that much first grade yet. Wayne Bennett somehow, some way goes, you're the man I want from the Dolphins.
Mate, the other side of it is too, like, he was up at the Dolphins. Like, all the Dolphins knew, because in reserve grade, he was killing it. Every time we got to first grade, he looked so far off the pace. Like, from what I've gathered, I think Wayne was even a bit shocked how far off the pace he was when he got to first grade. But Wayne brings two dudes down from there, Ewan Aitken, Hubner. Both have been sensational.
Like, sensational. Like, the fact that he's had to fill in Cam Murray's role and even gotten close to what Cam Murray does is a joke. It's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. Alrighty, the Penrith Panthers defeat the Para Eels, brought to you by Grumpy Coffee. Grab your Grumpy Coffee today at grumpycoffee.com.au. And also don't forget, next Tuesday, June 10th, 6 p.m, maroon bloke jumpers and hats, blue jumpers and hats dropping at bloke.shop. Set your alarms. And our Monday show, it'll be on Tuesday next week as well. Penrith Panthers defeat the Eels 18-10. Look, it's a really good and important win for the Panthers, and definitely don't want to take anything away from that. I really think it was an important win. But I'm going to be honest, I actually think the Eels can take more out of this than the Panthers. Like, we know the Panthers are a bloody good side. They've won 4 premierships. If they are to go on a crazy run, wouldn't shock me in the slightest. So I already know that they're capable of winning a really gritty, tough win like they did on the weekend. I think the Eels, the progress they have made since round 1 is absolutely insane. And they're going to actually probably look at this game as a real missed opportunity. I think that a few things here or there go their way. I think they actually win this game. So, look, really, really good win for the Eels. The Panthers. Take nothing away from it. I think the Eels can walk away going, shit, we're ahead of schedule here.
I agree with you. I know the Panthers aren't the same Panthers side they have been the last few years, but I thought, defensively, the Parramatta Eels, they were pretty good. I thought that Dill Brown came up with a number of huge moments, retreating back to collect kicks and whatnot and getting out of his in-goals. They obviously scored 2 tries down the left. I sort of felt during the game, I think, like, Lomax hardly got any ball out on that right wing. I thought that they went short and turned Jack Williams under a few too many times. You've got Jenkins and Casey McLean out there who have really struggled. I don't feel like they tested them anywhere near as much as I would have liked to have seen from a halfback like Mitch Moses anyway.
Yeah.
I thought there was heaps more opportunities there.
Yeah, and it's just like once they click, once that gets sorted, because that's just a detail. Like, that's not a big problem. You know, it's talking about like grand sweeping things with their attitude or their defence. I think Riles will be sitting back going, you know what, few tweaks here or there. Yeah. We're not bad.
And I think as well, like, I think there was probably 2, maybe 3 times throughout the game that I thought Katoga just sort of got a rush of blood and came up with a poor play and whatnot. But he's got the confidence to do that as well, which will, bring heaps of positives as well. But they defended their errors as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was a Penrith side, like, you could tell how much that game meant to them. Like, and I thought 12 minutes in, Dylan Edwards was absolutely cooked. I thought he was exhausted. They had Dane Laurie on the bench. I was waiting to make that change, but that one meant so much to Penrith. They all backed up and they knew they had to win that game of football.
Yeah.
They beat Parramatta by 8.
I know. And also, like, they got some fucking terrible calls. That call about Riley Smith being offside. Okay, walk me through this, please. I would love someone to explain to me. How is Riley Smith being offside the first infraction when aren't you not offside until the player picks the ball up? Do you know what I'm saying? Like you're only offside once. Like if he picks the ball up and I'm 10 metres away from him, then I'm not offside. Correct? So how is that the first infraction?
Unless you're deemed to have still impacted the play before the ball's been touched.
But so they said, so was it Katonga got held back? Someone got held back. Yeah. Someone got held back, but Riley Smith was offside on the inside. They said that him being offside on the inside was the first infraction, but the ball was like still had to go 20 metres. So I don't understand how that's already an infraction when he could have stopped running right there and not been offside. And also the bloke that got his shirt pulled back, he can run him onside. Like that was a terrible call by the ref.
Yeah.
And also he didn't even impact the play.
Yeah, the shirt pulled back. So he didn't give him the opportunity to run past and put him onside.
That's the first infraction.
Yeah.
Because as I said, if I'm offside, like you shoot the ball, I'm in front of you. I'm not offside until I'm inside the 10-metre line. I could have stopped.
His ability to run him back onside was impacted.
But also, I could have stopped running. Like Riley Smith could have stopped on a dime right there, and he wouldn't have been offside. Or at the very least, he would have eventually been run onside. And so that's what I don't understand, how that's the first infraction when the play hasn't been completed yet. Terrible call. Now, as I said, look, great win from the Panthers, and maybe they still would. And that's not the only thing that the Eels left on the table. I actually think there were a couple of errors here or there. Katonga made a few of them, but I thought on the weekend there were a couple of absolute howlers from the bunker. Absolute howlers.
Well, if you going into this game, talk about the upside of what Parramatta achieved in this, despite getting done. If you told me before the game that Penrith had completed 86%, in a must-win game for them, I'd have been no, they were 13 plus and they'll spank them. But they can hold their head high, Parramatta.
Well, really, it was a 40-20 from Cleary that changed the game. That was really it.
Have a look at it. Penrith missed more tackles, more penalties, more errors. Parramatta did a lot of good things here.
Mate, they dominated the game for most of the game. They just couldn't find that last try. And that's more of a rap on Penrith, the desperation they showed. But I think the Eels were up to their eyes in it. I really do.
Dare I say, if Parramatta play a version of Penrith from just about anywhere in the last 10 weeks, I think they win that game.
Yeah, I agree. What do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, I thought the Eels could take a lot out of it. I thought they probably had their moments, their opportunities to win it, but it's just so desperate now for Penrith. I think they all know, we've only got 3 losses up our sleeve for the rest of the year if we want to make the 8. So, it was an important game, and they obviously they all played like they knew it was that desperate. All the guys that came back from Origin I thought were really good.
Yep.
To'o, exceptional, over 200 metres again after doing it on Wednesday night as well.
Mate,
Freak.
Seriously.
I thought they were really good. I also thought Lindsay Smith probably had his best game for most of the season. Sort of got back to that form that got him into a Kangaroos jersey. They just got it done, Penrith, and this is kind of what you'd probably expect they would have done that a little bit earlier in the season, but it looks like now they've just gone, righto, we can't really afford to drop those games anymore.
You had the entire Blues back 3 playing in this game, and they all ran for 200 plus metres. Lomax was the worst in them at 201 metres.
Quiet night.
And To'o and Edwards on top of that, they've both been injured this season and missed big chunks of games. I think Origin was 2 games back from injury for To'o, and he comes out and runs 222 metres backing up.
Yeah, craziness. We've just become so desensitized to what To'o does that we just go, 222 metres. That's not normal.
To'o's made and ruined the position at the same time.
Seriously.
He just sets this ridiculous standard where you just... If someone's...
93 post-contact. And we have to remember, no one kicks this bloke the ball.
Yeah.
No one. He never gets the ball off a kick return.
And I mean, just to show you an example of that, and I've said this for the last few years, when was the last time we complimented Taruva on his run meters this year?
I'm trying to think.
Does it come to mind? Because we were doing it every week last year.
Yeah, it was his finishing ability that
because teams refused to kick to To'o, and they were kicking to him every single time, and it was stacking up his meters.
His finishing's been really bloody good. But yeah, you're right. He's getting all those meters with the kick returns. We'll stick on Eels and then we'll get to Panthers. Even you look at the backline, Samrani, Russell, Iongi, these guys are rookies. They're early in their career. I thought, what about the kicking competition between Moses and Cleary? Maybe I'm being hyperbolic, but at least in the last few years, it's probably the highest quality kicking versus I've seen. They were just putting them pinpoint exactly where they needed to them, back and forth. Cleary would land at a metre before the try line, and then Moses would kick this absolute bomb 60 metres down the field. The kicking level on display was absolutely incredible.
Like the old kicking duel, wasn't it?
Yeah, mate, it was just absolutely incredible.
To see what they do.
And Cleary probably had him on the shorter kicking game, the mid to short kicking game, but then Moses would just go fucking boom and just get it all the way down the park. It was amazing to watch.
So Cleary kicked for 596 metres, and I'm going to assume Moses was probably more, 665.
And he had 3 less kicks. Wow. Far out, man.
Just on that as well, I thought Parramatta, they put up a number of kicks that were really good opportunities for Zach Lomax to get up as well. I thought Tom Jenkins did well.
Yeah,
there's a few turnovers and whatnot, but it's better than points.
I think Tommy Jenkins has been awesome for them amid all this. I thought McLean had one of his better games on the week. I think he was in our team of the week, but defensively really good. But Tommy Jenkins doesn't get a lot of clean ball on that left edge when McLean's inside him. More of a ball runner than a ball player. That'll come. But Tommy Jenkins has been so reliable for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good vote of comment because Alamotti was probably their best last year, and now he's taking his spot.
Yeah,
mate, he played reserve grade on the weekend. I just thought he was injured. He played centre and reserve grade.
Wow, that's huge. But yeah, just back on Eels. Jack Williams, what like a sign of a good coach and a good system is like almost. How often have we seen, like you've seen Serraldo and Webster, their ability to pick a player out that's not fringy, but like on the bench or not necessarily a superstar. I mean, Riles has just gone, Jack Williams, thank you, bring me back inside. Mate, he has gone to a whole nother level under Riles. Like, he has been absolutely phenomenal. His ability to play edge, his ability to play middle on the weekend, once again, 14 runs, 159 metres. And like, they're starting to use him as a weapon. Like Moses is immediately just going, Jack Williams, just run a hard line. I know you're going to break that first tackle. And he was up against Sorensen, I'm pretty sure. So no slouch.
I've said it before, but he's always had a good running game and line running ability because he's spent his entire career primarily the Sharkies as a middle. Probably lose a little bit of that. Now that he's getting some time out on the edge, the timing of that line running, you're starting to see how good it is. He's shredding him, isn't he?
Shredding him. So 7 tackle breaks, a line break, 44 tackles, only 1 miss.
And the way that Moses is using him too, like the way that he turns him under, like, and I know he dropped one of them yesterday, but mate, like I don't think you could have done that with Jack Williams over the last 3 years. You couldn't trust him to catch those ones. Moses is turning it right around his body, just at full pace.
Yep. The improvement of these players, like Riles, he won't get any accolades or anything this year, but fuck me, he deserves a massive rap. They were a basket case when he arrived.
Sat there round 1, round 2, round 3, and the calibre of players that were in New South Wales Cup, and he's like, all right, stick with him, like trust it. And you see, how far they've come now, low-key masterstroke. This
Eels side for the last 3 or 4 weeks, I reckon they make the 8 if Moses was fit from the day one.
Quite possibly.
I reckon they'd be in the 8. That's how good they're playing at the moment. Yeah. And I just think that there's still so much more improvement. The key will be now, do they go into market? I'd really love to see their salary cap. If their salary cap is in good nick, this turnaround from Riles might be quite quick. It's just a matter of, if it's not though, it might take them a little bit longer to sort everything out. But surely they've got at least $1 million in the cap sitting there ready to go.
Well, at least. Bill Brown money. So.
Yeah. So do they go into the market? Do they not? I'm not sure. But yeah, it's... I'll tell you what, if you're Dill Brown, you're sitting there going... Shit. I mean, I know it's a 10-year deal and like fucking hectic money, but like, mate, what was it, 4 or 5 year deal with the Eels?
There's part of you that goes, shit, like the football side of you goes, fuck.
That you get that combination with Moses, everything's looking good now. Because like when the deal was signed, it was the Eels were winning the wooden spoon when that deal was signed. Now all of a sudden, because it was after round 1, wasn't it? Yeah, because we started questioning like, would you... And so now all of a sudden you go, oh, fuck, like a 5-year deal here is looking a lot better than it was at the start of the year. Anyway, is what it is. It's just disappointing because I wanted to see the Moses-Brown combination build into what we know it could be.
Yep.
But yeah, Iongi at the back, he got through a bunch of work again, always dangerous. I thought interesting, Madison, he seems to be back in favour to a degree. His ball playing was a bit hit or miss. He had one that wasn't great, but then the other one was good. Dylan Walker, once again, coming on. Katonga, a bit of an up and down game, but what I like for Katonga is he's confident, So if you can just, there was one pass that he threw out over the sideline. If you could just sort those little errors out here or there, mate, I think they got something with Katonga on the edge there. They just need to make sure he gets that consistency sorted.
Yeah, and it's just hard to find that consistency. Like, he's a guy that's willing to chance his hand. He's got the confidence to do it. You have just got to find that balance with him. And, I thought it was interesting. Like, Jermaine Hopgood only played 35 minutes again in this game. Like, and also, if Jermaine's not 100%, which seemingly it looks like, can you pick Papali on the bench?
Surely. If he's not,
can you afford to do that?
Surely you're going to bring someone else in to take that spot.
You've already got Dylan Walker. Like, you've already got coverage for those spots.
Yeah, he's in a bit of a hole at the moment, Hopgood, I think. He threw a silly ball as well. I think he has to be an injury thing, surely.
Yeah, from what I've heard it is, but...
Yeah. But yes, seriously, what a good performance from the Eels. Okay, on to the Panthers. Mate, this win was just all grit and heart. They weren't playing their best. Things weren't clicking as well as they usually do. It took a superstar moment from a superstar in Nathan Cleary, but it was just all heart, this win, in my opinion. Like, they are nowhere near what we know they can be, but they just found a way to get this win. Just somehow, some way. Just grit.
Yep, just hang in, find a way to do it.
We are going to just almost fall over the line if we have to, but we're going to fend our absolute hearts out. and it was just a gritty, tough win.
We already sort of spoke about him, and I posted it on our socials the other day, but I went through and did Brian To'o's numbers in big games. So in the last 4 grand finals, keep in mind the last grand final he only played 57 minutes. He's averaging 233 run meters per grand final.
Fuck.
He played 57 minutes in the last grand final. So one of those 4, he played 3/4 of a game. State of Origins, he's now played 13 Origins. He's averaging 204 run meters in Origins. Keep in mind, the game on Wednesday night, he only played 70 minutes. He ran for 225 run meters. So in grand finals and Origins, where no one kicks him the fucking football, he's averaging 204 run meters in those big games.
Yeah, we never seen a winger do this for this long a period. We just
not
haven't.
even close.
Yeah, we just haven't. Like, he has redefined the position.
We had the conversation before about, geez, Ruben Cotter, I can forgive him if his body's been through a lot and it's starting to catch up to him. To'o should be in absolute all
Oh,
sorts.
mate. He should be a complete busted by now.
He backs up from Origin and runs for another 220 metres against Parramatta.
Just incredible. He's one of the greatest wingers of all time. That ship sailed probably last year, but like, he's really building a resume to be the best winger of all time. In my
How
opinion.
old is he? What is he, 25 or something? Is he even that old, Brian To'o? Like
show me another winger in Origin that's played as good as To'o over a 4 or 5 year period.
I don't think there is one.
I don't think there is. No. Like, there's been like singular games or singular series that have been potentially better, but to be this consistent over since he debuted 2021, I think.
Yep.
So you're looking at 4 or 5 Origin series. No one's done that. No one's done that.
with Sowie on the show the other day, I sort of brought it up as far as him, that best winger of all time, and Sowie, who obviously played a lot with Brett Morris, and like you could tell Sowie's like, I'm not getting into this.
Yeah.
And it just had a respect to BMOS, but mate, for any winger at 26 to be in the conversation with Brett Morris,
It's great. He's got 4 comps. He's got 3 series or 2 series. 2. He's got 2 series, potentially 3 Origin series now. What else does his resume need?
and that's where I didn't even do the stats for Samoa in those big games as well. Like, I have no doubt he would have gone for heaps in those.
He's got a World Cup final, I'm pretty sure.
2 Origin wins.
2 Origin wins. Potentially could win 3.
He also, in a losing series, he won the Brad Fittler medal.
Bruh, lock it in. What other winger has this resume?
Yeah, I think it's over, personally.
Like, no other winger has this, right? It's just incredible. And it's just the fact that he goes into Origin in 70 minutes, runs for 200 metres, and then backs up that same week and does it again. It's just amazing. It is so good. So just a really, really gritty win. I thought Liam Martin was really strong in this game, especially in defence. Like, I know you look at his stats and Liam Martin is the pin-up boy for don't look at stats.
Yep.
He is the pin-up boy. Because if you looked at his stats, you'd be like, how's he even in first grade this week? But if you actually watch him play, you see the eye test, he's just so good. He's so good.
One of the great kick chasers for a big fella as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember when we seen him in person, he's way bigger than he looks on the field.
Enormous.
Fucking way bigger.
Yeah. When Cleary, the way Cleary puts up that bomb from sort of halfway, and just the timing of Martin to be screaming through to tackle the ball catcher every time, he's amazing at it. But again, there's literally no stat around that.
Yeah, he reminds me a little bit of Tony Carroll, and just he's like that bodyguard for Cleary, that guy that you never wanted to run at Lockyer because you had fucking Tony Carroll, the absolute animal, ready to rip your head off. And it's a little bit similar to Liam Martin. Just amazing stuff. So look, really gritty and tough win for the Panthers, and it's just all about building. If they can just get their attack right, they can just sort that out. If they can keep this grit, then who knows what can happen? Who knows? Look, I still think it's just these guys, they're human beings. If they manage to squeeze into the 8, it'll be one of the fucking most amazing things ever. But I just think they're going to run out of puff. Like, it's going to be, they basically have to win, 9 from 13 or whatever. Okay, now it's 8 from 12. 8 from 12. So it's definitely doable, but it's going to be a tough
You're just going to have to play finals footy for 4 months. A big ask. Especially, it's a big ask if you're fresh.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, on to the last game of the round, the Roosters versus the Raiders, and what a great game to watch. What a great game, and the Raiders just somehow, some way, find a way to get the job done. A really, really important win for the Raiders, in my opinion, because for a period there, it looked like, game was going to get away from them. I think this is just like, if anyone had any doubts about this team being a top 4 side, I think it's been completely squashed now. They've gone and beat the Warriors at home. They've beaten the Roosters now. They've beaten the Melbourne Storm as well. Like, they are a premiership threat this year, and it's official. They did it without Fogarty as well. Amazing win from the Raiders.
Yeah, without Fogarty, that's the key. Like a massive out with I think it was a groin injury. We have 6 Sunday wins on the trot. Josh Papali'i, most capped Raiders player of all time.
So good.
And it's just, I said, like, even watching it for the first time ever, or just close enough with the Raiders, even when we went on a grand final run, they just, every time we get behind, I'm like, we'll be all right. We won't get flustered. We won't, like, our game plan doesn't change. We don't start throwing the ball around and getting loose and, throwing all these low percentage plays out. We just stay so composed and stick to the game plan. These players have so much belief in their system. They've got the blokes around them that they'll get a job done. And just time after time, they're coming from behind, they're winning games, and friggin' oath they're premiership threats. So they've been great.
So good.
Not only like winning without Fogarty, like, yes, that's impressive, but to switch Strange to the right-hand side and have the young fella come in on the left-hand side, like, that changes absolutely. Not to mention Tom Starling was out as well. Your hooker, like, you lose your hooker and your halfback who, if you said name the Raiders' top 5 players this year, I don't think you could possibly leave those two out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
They swap Ethan Strange to the other side, mate. Round 4, we were questioning if Ethan Strange is going to stay in the team for a few weeks.
Yep, absolutely.
And, I just thought it was incredible. We already spoke about Owen Paddy and his performance. Tamale,
Mate, Tamale is fucking unbelievable.
It's funny. I remember when I was down at Canberra, I had that same conversation about Owen Paddy. I remember one of them said to me, we signed this Tamale. I went, the kid from the Dragons. And they're like, yep. They knew then that they'd got another cracker.
Yeah. You could make the argument that the Raiders recruitment is maybe one of the best because they are dealing with it's hard to get people to Canberra.
I think it is without a doubt, one of the best, definitely, because they can't get anyone.
Yeah. Like, none of the big players that, when they get on the market, like even Jackie White and like a beloved son of there was like, I want to go to Sydney.
But even like, not just the players they get there, but their retention of players, where you're like, someone like Joe Tarpany, you could go and name his price tag wherever he wants to go. But like, we retain nearly everyone. Like Jack White, and he'd been there for about 12 years or something, eventually left. But like, we get them there and they stay.
Yep, absolutely.
Like you retain guys almost, in my opinion, to the detriment of those players at times. Like, why Trey Mooney is still there playing reserve grade. I respect it so much, and it's such a sign of culture and everything. But what are you doing?
Yeah, absolutely,
you're
mate.
Too good to be there.
You're a starter at a lot of clubs.
Yeah, you're going to have a guy, you're going to have a star hooker in reserve grade next year for that exact same reason.
That's mental that either Brayley, Starling or Paddy will be in reserve grade next year. That just shows you how good this club is. And I just think that, like, Ricky Stewart, he made a decision a few years ago to go, you know what, we're going to pinpoint the best young guys coming out of grade and we're going to trust our system to make them the best versions of themselves. It's absolutely amazing. And you know what? It's a really good example of a club giving a coach time to build what he needs. Like, giving a coach longer than 2 or 3 years to build a culture and a system that he needs. There were people a few years ago calling for Ricky's head. Like, imagine if you had a loss. Like, imagine you'd be all the way back at the start. Now, all of a sudden, you potentially could be walking into 5 years of dominant footy with the youngest squad in the comp nearly.
You put any other coach in the comp down in Canberra, Wayne Bennett, I'm sure, could do it. But to do what Ricky's done and the consistency of finals footy, and we made a grand final a few years back, and we're a potential grand final threat this year as well. Like, to do what he's done, and as I said, all that stuff around the recruitment, the retention, like, it's so underrated.
And not pay overs for anyone.
Yeah, like Tamale, we were saying pre-show, but like, if he was on the wing at the Roosters doing what he's doing right now, the Sydney media would be like, all right, shut up shop. The Dally M winning the year's been decided.
Yeah, Origin, bloody...
like, the headlines would be everywhere.
Yep.
But even, like you say, Wayne Bennett could go down there, and maybe he could, but in the last 10 years, Wayne Bennett's made one more grand final than Ricky Stewart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With much better squads.
Mate, to be honest, I think the only bloke that you could be more confident is Bellamy, because he's done it down in Victoria. Whereas I do think Bennett could do it, but I don't think it's a sure thing.
No,
I don't think it's a sure thing.
The point is, it's a bloody unique place to coach for that reason. Because no really other coaches in the NRL are dealing with, an inability to recruit people based on where they are.
Yeah, it's just the way they play. They just got so much ticker. They don't give a shit who they're playing. There's no respect. There's no like, better not do this because they're playing this club or whatever. It is all just like, we're the fucking big dogs and we're going to go all day.
But I love, like, our our ball movement is improving and the width that we sort of use, but so much of our attack is the focal point is the back rowers, and it doesn't bloody matter who it is. So obviously Hudson's the man, but on the other edge, they've gone from like Zach Hosking at the start of the year, started on the edge there, got injured. Matty Nicholson came in, English recruit.
Yep.
He killed it there. He got injured. Hosking is now starting there and moving to the middle, and Simi Sasangi's been coming on and like has been so good that it's like it's forcing Hosking into a middle role. Sasangi hasn't missed a beat since going there, attack and D. That's what we do. We play short through these like explosive back rowers. It's far out. It's been good to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And like even you look at a guy like Tarpiner, like he could probably get 1.2 million at another club. Like that's how good he is, and he's probably not even on $1 million right now at the Raiders. Like, we actually, you know what? We know he's not on $1 million because we spoke about earlier on Code Sports. Just such a good win from the Raiders, exactly what they needed. And like, who knows from now? They've put themselves in such a good position. Like genuinely, right now, even if they just kind of cruise in home, they'll definitely make the 8. They've had 10 wins. They've actually had the most wins of any club in the NRL right now.
Haven't had 3 buys to come.
So they're actually, let's look at their points differential. They are essentially on par with the Bulldogs right now. Their differential is 74, the Bulldogs. The Raiders is 72. And they're on 20 points, the Raiders. So the Dogs have had 2 buys. So the Raiders are on top of the table right now because they've had the most wins. Yeah, 10 wins, 3 losses.
Yep.
Wow. No way.
They're 850 to win the comp too.
Far out.
The team that was favourites to win the spoon at the start of the season.
Ricky Stewart, Dally M Coach of the Year if this continues. They're on top of the table.
On track.
Far out. That's crazy. What do you reckon of the Raiders, mate?
Unbelievable. Well, given where they were favourites for the spoon at the start of the year. But
so is that definite? Because they said that wasn't true. I saw in a comment somewhere.
No, I think they were the favourites. I think we went over at the start of the season on the preview
They were
show.
right down the bottom. If they weren't
for
favourites,
sure.
they were right
It was a
down.
rebuild year. It was friggin' a rebuild year.
It was. But they've been unbelievable. They've unearthed a couple of future stars who are, Owen Paddy and the like kind of came. I was very impressed with the Colonel, Ethan Sanders, in his first kind of crack in first grade for the Raiders too. I thought he looked really good.
Yep.
A great sign of things to come. Obviously, Fogarty will be a big loss next year, but he looks pretty good. They just, as I said before, like they've got a bit of a DNA. Like they're just gritty team. You never got to get an easy game against them. They got a couple of dogs in that team as well. Like, a good win. They did really well.
I'm imagining the marketing push for a McDonald's and Owen Paddy. Keep your mates to nil. The Owen Paddy just makes sense.
Oh yeah,
you like that?
I do.
Thank you. Macca's, KFC, whatever you want, the Owen Paddy. I'll meet in the Owen Paddy. I want to keep my mates nil. Fuck my mates.
Ricky's done a bit of Macca's advertising.
There you go.
As well, so
there you go. Keep your mates nil. The Owen Paddy.
Let's get some soft serves.
Hey, is this the most deceiving stat line of all time or what? So in their reserve grade, Raiders got beat 48-24. Joe Roddy. I don't know too much about him. Played in the back row. 7 runs. He ran for 80 minutes. He had 4 tackle breaks. He scored 3 tries as a back rower.
So that's basically all his stats were scoring those tries.
Yep.
That's efficient. That's real efficient.
Far out. That's good. And he's a back row for Canberra.
Yep.
Don't have enough of them already. Yeah. Jesus Christ. We already spoke about Owen Paddy in regards to his impact, guys. So go back to Kayo Can't Miss if you want to have a look at that. But in regards to some other points, I thought Tarpany was outstanding as he always is. We spoke about Tamale. I thought Timoko, just his work rate, I think he just got super, super involved. It's just an exciting time for the Raiders. It really is. Do they look better than their grand final year? I reckon there's an argument they do.
When you said it 8 weeks ago, I thought you were being ridiculous at the time. But they're getting closer than they should be.
Yeah, I mean, they are looking red hot right now. Red hot. But yeah, great win. Massive congratulations to Josh Papali'i. Definitely will go down as one of the greatest Raiders players of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Of all time. Him in the front row with Lazo, stop it.
Yeah.
Has to be.
Stop it. And then you got Tarpany at 13 maybe. Oh, actually probably have
Clyde. Go off the bench for us.
Tarpany off the bench. But yeah, really, really good win. Stoked for him. Hudson Young scoring a try again. Jeez, he loves to find the try line. Okay, now on to the Roosters. Jeez, one that got away. Just the discipline, the errors. far out. That's the one thing. And look, Roosters have always notoriously, their completion rate has been a bit of a, you don't look at that because even when I think they won the comp, the completion rate wasn't great. But even a few weeks ago, I think it was against the Bulldogs where they just went error. They've just got to find a way to sort it out.
63%.
Yuck.
Whoa.
And so if they can just sort that out, they win the game probably.
They've done well to get that close.
Yeah.
63%.
Yeah.
The Raiders were 88%.
Yeah. It's just one of those things, and maybe it's a philosophy kind of thing, but I'm always a big believer of high completion rate. I just think you can build a longer dominance on it. I think low completion rate, it just can make you so up and down.
Every time the Roosters have this game, I sit there and during the week and I go, this is the game. If they win this, my jury's back in.
They're in the top 8.
But they can't just seal that last deal for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you.
I can't tip them confidently week in, week out yet. I just don't have that faith in them.
Like their forwards got absolutely dominated. So Lindsay Collins, 46 metres. Spencer Lenu, 46 metres. Angus Crichton, 72. Sewell Wong, 66. Victor Radley, 66. Buketti, 88. Steep, 98. Egan Butcher, 45. Not a single forward got over 100 metres.
Crichton, 72 in 80 minutes. Obviously coming off Origin. That's unheard of for him.
Unheard of. Just shows you how dominant the Raiders pack is in contact.
Geez, Wong made 60 tackles in that one.
Wow.
I haven't got how many he missed, but 60 tackles. He only missed 2. Jesus. It's a nudge.
Jesus.
Connor Watson, 57.
Connor Watson, 57 in 60 minutes.
Whoa. 60 tackles.
Radley, 46. Crichton, 44. Jeez.
Doesn't that just show the dominance? Connor Watson, essentially a tackle a minute for 60 minutes.
Well, so 58 possession. 58. Jeez, the more you read into these numbers, how the hell? The Raiders, 58% possession, 42% the Roosters. Time in possession, the Raiders had the ball for 33 minutes to the Roosters 24. 9 more minutes.
Wow. That is truly just starving your opposition of the ball and just going, you're not even going to have a chance.
But that's what a mature side does.
Yeah.
This side, Kayo Weeks is the oldest guy in the spine. He's 23?
Oh, wow. You know what's crazy? It's just like the fact that the Raiders are such a mature side. They can go into such a big game against a side filled with stars and just they look like the top dog side. They look like the glamour club that's coming in and just controlling a game and seeing it out. Just to
that point of they got behind, a bit of a margin there and they just went, no, continue to complete.
Yep.
They'll run out of steam. They'll make errors. They'll let us back into it, and they did, and we'll get them.
Yeah, wow.
Imagine not having a bye till round 15 and you're not limping to it. You're fucking running at it.
Mate, just, if anything, has the buyers come at the wrong time?
The bye might hinder them, genuinely.
Yeah, fuck. This is what a performance. But yeah, just back to I want to give Teddy a rap.
Freak.
He is a fucking freak.
12 tackle breaks, just a lazy 12.
260 metres. 30 metres, 64 post contact, 2 line breaks.
Yeah.
What a player.
Outrageous. Just even watching him yesterday, could so easily just slip back into the Origin side and it he wouldn't look out of place. He's been so good. He's right at the top of the Dally M's this year as well. He'd have to be in the conversation too. But
imagine him winning a Dally M 3 years after a lot of people said he was washed.
Yeah.
Fuck.
It's crazy. No,
mental.
He's playing unreal footy at the moment, Teddy.
I'd love to see how many years of his career since going to the Roosters has he not been the best fullback in the competition? Dally M points wise. So 21?
Yep.
Then maybe 23 from Edwards, was it? Or maybe 24 for Edwards? But outside of that...
It still wouldn't surprise me if Teddy knocked him though.
That's what I mean. I think that...
Longo knocked him off in 1
year.
Yeah. Yep.
I think most years he would be either number 1 or number 2 when it comes to Dally M.
1 or 2, yeah.
Yeah. Which is just amazing. He's another guy that really did... I know Minicello did a similar thing to him in regards to this type of footy he played, but he revolutionised the fullback position, Teddy. He really did. And different to the way Billy Slater played, but a lot of people, when Teddy came in, started saying you need to run for 200 metres a game and you need to have 10 tackle breaks a game because of Teddy's performances. Yeah. So definitely one that got away from the Roosters. If they just had completed at a higher rate, that's why I'm still quite bullish on them making the 8. I've got them in my 8 because if they can just sort that completion rate out, they'll beat most teams. And also just their development of these younger players coming through. They had a debutant number 9, I'm pretty sure.
Debuted last week, but
apologies.
Yep. Started there,
started this week, that's not a small thing. It's not a small thing against the Raiders. So yeah, I just think what's most impressive this year is the evidence that the Roosters' development is quite bloody good. Quite bloody good. So hopefully they can bounce back next week. Anyone else stand out to you boys? Connor Watson got through a mountain of work again.
He was great.
Wong did. Just looking at Hugo's kicking game. A couple of errors. I thought Hugo was a little bit quieter than usual. Now, granted, when you don't have the ball, it's pretty hard to fucking get involved.
Rob Toyer backed up well from Origin. He defended his arse off as always. Solid as. That try at the end was beastly as well.
No one going to Wase again. Mate, he is so friggin' good. What do you reckon he's getting on the open market? No one can do it to Wase.
How old is he?
700?
He's 25, I think.
Oh, I reckon he's younger. 24?
24.
Yeah. He good, but it's still like one or two little moments a game where, like, try to take him on down the short side, got tackled out.
For sure.
He's definitely got all the ingredients there, though. But
If you could, let's say if you could watch a highlight reel of just this year of him and you didn't have the errors in it, you'd be going, is this from like 4 years of footy?
Yeah. Yep.
Every game he has a highlight reel.
Yep.
So if he can just sort that, almost a bit a symptom of the Roosters where they are okay with making errors to a degree.
Yeah, his value's high now. Like, mate, if Teddy was to have 3 or 4 weeks out,
See him at
play
fullback.
and like the amount of tackle breaks, he breaks the first tackle every single time.
Yeah, him at he'd get 15, 20 fucking
Especially
tackle
against
breaks.
tired forwards through the middle.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be able to handle him.
Mate, he's so good. He's such a star. But you're right. He just needs to round out those errors because you can't really make those errors in league, whereas in union it's a little bit more forgiving.
Because it was 3 or 4 weeks ago we had the game against Canterbury, he dropped a heap of bombs.
Yeah.
And
It was great in attack, though.
great in attack, yeah. But like we sort of defended him and went, that hasn't been a problem all year for him though. But it sort of is becoming a bit of an issue for him. It's sort of hung around there.
And also, like, the argument a lot of NRL players would say, listen, I can do that flick pass. I just choose not to because I'm too scared to make a fucking error. And so it's finding that balance of keeping that free-flowing style of play from Noanga Tuase, but also not making errors. Okay, let's face a bit of music brought to you by our friends over at Sportsbet. Don't forget this weekend, the Wellness Warriors. This Saturday at Coplick Family Park. Registration starts at 8:45. Speeches start around 11. I'll be down there. Come down and say hey. But let's get into Face the Music, brought to you by our friends over at Sportsbet.
All right, full round this weekend for round 14, kicking off on Thursday night. Newcastle Knights, $2.52, host Manly, $1.53. The line in this one is 4.5 points.
So KP will be back. Manly notoriously up and down. I'll go Manly 1 to 12.
285.
Manly minus 4.5.
Yep.
Manly 1 to 12.
I'll go Manly minus 4.5.
I too will go. In fact, you know what? I'll go Manly 13 plus, $2.80. Yep. There, I said it. Then on Friday, Storm $1.20 host the Cowboys, $4.60. 14.5 points is the line in this one.
I'm just going to go Cowboys 13 plus.
Jeez, $13.
Wow.
I'll take the Cowboys with the start.
Yep.
I'll go Storm to cover.
Yep.
Cowboys with the start.
Oh, this is a tough one. Really tough. I think I'll have to go Cowboys with the start as well. 14.5 is a big line. Dolphins, $1.54 at Suncorp host the Dragons, $2.49. 5.5 is the line in this one. Tough one.
Jeez. I'm going to go Dragons 1 to 12.
360.
Give me Dolphins 13 plus.
280.
Dolphins 1 to 12.
290.
Dolphins.
You're going 13 plus 280.
Dolphins minus 5.5.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go Dragons. Dragons head to head.
I don't love it for what it's worth.
Yeah. Alrighty. Then next game, Sharkies $1.48 host the Warriors, 266. 6.5 points to the line at Shark Park.
It's juicy. That's $7 for 13 plus for the Warriors. I'll just go the Sharkies. Sharkies head to head.
$1.48.
Yeah, get around on the board.
What am I missing here? Is it just Barnett out? Is that the big concern?
I think that's the big concern.
Yeah.
Crazy. $7, 13 plus. Fresh off a bye, maybe.
Yeah, fresh off a bye.
Oh, yeah, Sharky's no stranger to shit in the bed like that, though.
Very true.
What's Wires 1 to 12?
360.
Yeah, give me that. Wires 1 to 12.
Yep.
Sharks 1 to 12.
285.
Warriors plus 6.5.
Yep, I'm going to say Warriors head-to-head, 266. Don't mind that. All right, this could be interesting. This one, Broncos, $1.32, host the Titans, $3.42, 9.5
I cannot
points.
believe that. With how the Broncos are playing,
It's outrageous.
like Titans 342 is outrageous.
It is.
I'm just going to go Broncos 1 to 12.
$3.05.
You'll think this is a value play. I'm going to go Titans 13 plus. I think if they get on a roll early,
Yeah.
they could run a muck here.
I'm with you,
yeah, very
$9.25 as well.
Very disrespectful.
I'm with you as well. Titans 13 plus.
Yep.
I'm going to go Titans 1 to 12.
Disrespectful.
I'm just going to take Titans head-to-head, $3.42.
Disrespectful as well. There's a reason why I'm leading the comp, so I get
not for
tipping.
long if you put the Broncos in that one. All right, Raiders $1.39 host the Rabbitohs, $3. 8.5 is the line.
So Raiders still don't have a bye. Fuck. When do they have their bye?
15.
Jesus. I might go Rabbitohs 13 plus.
7.75. Okay.
Yeah. There's got to be 1 week where they conk out, surely.
Not at home
Like-
though.
Surely. Oh, but it's puppies. Oh, it's just their 100th. Fuck. All right, I take that back.
It's what?
It's Papali'i's 300th at home, isn't it?
Yeah.
Their big fucking song and dance about it.
Correct.
I think it's the most games for the Raiders, but
I thought that was last week.
Oh, not 300. It's most games in Raiders
Yeah, but it's
history.
his first game back at home, whatever,
home.
after the 300th.
Oh, the first game back.
So I think
so.
they're going to make a big
Right,
song and dance
yeah,
about it. You know what? I'm just going to go Rabbitohs 13 plus anyway. 7
That's disrespectful.
That is disrespectful. That's proper disrespectful.
Celebration.
No, he's a
It's a
mate.
big
He's
part.
going to get
Nah,
up.
he'll hate that.
No, he'll love it.
Not anymore, you're not, mates.
I love it.
After that.
I'll take South with the start.
Okay, yep.
Raiders 1 to 12.
South with the start.
290 for Raiders on the 12. I'm going to take Raiders minus 8.5. I think it'll be close, but I still think the Raiders will be too good. Here we go. Tigers 337. Hosts, inverted commas. It's at Combank, so it could be anyone's own game. $1.32 for the Penrith Panthers. 9.5 is the line in this one.
Why would you
Panthers
put
1 to
this
12.
game at Combank? Why wouldn't you have Jerome Luai welcoming the Panthers to Campbelltown or to Leichhardt or...
Yeah. It's a great point.
Silly.
Anyway.
Also hosted the Eels at the same venue a little bit earlier in the year, which was awesome. So
Yeah, it's eyes up. What'd you do?
I went Panthers 1 to 12.
$2.95.
Give me Tigers 1 to 12.
$4.40.
Panthers to cover.
Yeah.
I'll go Tigers with the 9.5 start.
Yep. I'll go Tigers 1 to 12, $4.40 as well. And to bring us home, Galvin Bowl. I wonder if they'll play for the bowl that his hair was cut in the other day. Dogs $1.41. The Eels $2.92. 8.5 is the line.
I'm going Dogs head-to-head. Just get a win on the board.
$1.40.
Going to win on the board,
It's
mate.
only
Just got to get them on the
$1.40
board. Stack her up, boys.
Eels 1 to 12.
$4.
Dogs to cover.
Dogs to cover.
Eels 1 to 12. The beginning of the end for the Dogs, I think, this week. $4 for the Eels.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see. Let's Face Some Music, brought to you by Sportsbet. A massive thank you. All right, that's us done and dusted. Don't forget, Tuesday, 6 p.m., be there for the Bloke maroon and blue drop hat and jumper. Never done these before. And as usual, we'll go and fuck ourselves. Thank you.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.